He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime and now college football Hall of Fame Longhorn Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rob Babers.
I appreciate the intro as always. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP of the show, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid. We do know that he is underpaid. He is Patrick Davis. What's going on, Patrick? How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Went by Dish Falk today. Saw the field. It's a little wet,
a little damp.
So game postponed today. So we'll be here till 7.
That's a beautiful thing. The full Monty for you. We'll give you a Masters update as well. We got a Masters update coming up for you as well here in the first segment as we get to some NFL news, notes, and nuggets. Also, we'll go behind the burnt orange curtain a little bit, talk some Texas basketball, actually. A couple of basketball stories out there. There's a big fish out there in the transfer portal in Texas, along with a lot of other schools, have this player at the top of their list of transfer portal potential acquisitions. We'll get into that as well, and also we'll get into the Quinn Ewers reviews that are out there. My man Corey Mose, who was on, shout out to the Flex crew, Wednesday Night Flex last night, did a great job, and shout out to them. They had Corey Mose on there. He put together a little montage of players giving their critique and their opinion of Quinn Ewers so far this spring. So that'll open us up to our conversation. We'll get to that audio as well. And an interesting, I would say, an interesting experiment in spring football that I think that Texas could even benefit from. A lot of schools could benefit from it, but we'll get into that too coming up a little bit later on in the 4 o'clock and the 6 o'clock when we talk Texas and go behind the burnt orange curtain. Also Texas baseball, although not playing today, they are playing this, well, we assume. They're playing this weekend. I haven't looked at the forecast, so I don't even know what the forecast looks like. But I assume at one point
it's going to rain.
When they can get it in, Horace, they're going to get it in.
That's right.
You were actually scheduled to call a game this weekend, and you still are, but now, I don't know, you might have to do more duty, double duty.
Well,
depending on how they work it out.
Depending on how it works out.
Right?
As of right now, they're going to play all the way through Easter. So it's not going to need to be a doubleheader unless something happens.
More bad weather.
Yeah, more bad weather. So I'm still scheduled to be out there on Saturday because now the Thursday game is now the Sunday game. And that's how that kind of works out.
Yeah.
So if you have tickets for tonight's game, they will be used for Sunday's game.
I got you.
So everything else stays on schedule.
All right, there you go. All right, so we'll get you some discussion about the NFL here in a second because there's a lot of random NFL stories I think that we need to hit and we should hit. And we'll get to some Cowboys discussion because the mock drafts, we have 2 of them, Daniel Jeremiah and Lance Zierlein put out their latest mock draft. The Lance Zierlein mock draft, because he's H-Town affiliated, has got a lot of Houstonians and Texans fans. Well, not hot. They're just panicking. They're freaking out because this is something we discussed on the show. Hypothetical about this. We discussed on the show. It's one of Patrick's favorite theories about the Texans, and I don't like this theory.
Yeah, favorite's not the word I would use to describe it. I just say it is a theory that I believe could happen.
Yeah.
But favorite is not the word I would use.
All right, well, I use the wrong word. I ain't favorite, but it's a theory you've brought up multiple times.
Yep.
You brought it, and now it's becoming a popular theory among the mock drafters out there, and I don't like it. I don't know if Patrick is the one that's proliferated this stuff, but I don't like it at all. And then Peter King, remember, he hinted also at this thing. So we'll get into it. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a second. All right, let's get to people. Oh, it's even raining at the Masters. Beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get to people a little Masters update here. Well, we got some time. Looking at it right now, but also I got the Masters leaderboard here. Usually we give you some Masters music.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Hello, friends.
All right, I gotta adjust my voice. You can't speak in. I can't speak in my normal voice.
You cannot.
When the Masters music is on.
You cannot.
Right? It feels disrespect. It's like in church. Like in church, you ain't got a regular voice in church. You put your hand up. Sorry about that, Lord.
Sorry.
I apologize.
My father.
All right. Actually, the leader of the leader at the Masters right now, top of your leaderboard is a tie right now. You got Victor Hovland and John Rahm right now tied.
Yes.
At 7 under.
7
at
under.
the top of the leaderboard through 7. right?
No, they are actually finished for the day.
Okay.
They both finished for the day.
Okay.
At 65.
There you go.
Yes.
Adam Scott and Cameron Young. First of the Live guys.
Hey.
Any a Live guy?
No, but Brooks Koepka is. And Brooks Koepka is at -5 right now. He's in third place.
Oh, yeah.
Tied with Burns and Young.
I got that.
Sounds like a law firm.
Xander, Koepka, Neiman also.
Mm-hmm.
Bennett, there's a lot of guys that are tied at 4 under. Some of them are done and some of them are late in their rounds. Okay, there you go.
There's a lot that needs to happen
Do you
for my guys to be able to show up.
Who are your guys?
Show out.
Who are your guys?
I'm in different leagues, but I will tell you the ones that I have as of right now are not playing well. And I had Jordan Spieth, who is at -3. Colin Morikawa at -2. Jason Day at -2.
That's not bad.
Scotty Scheffler at -2. Patrick Cantlay, I had him at -1. And Tony Finau finished the day at -1.
All those guys aren't done, right? Scheffler is...
No, they'll still be able to play.
Scheffler's right, through 7?
Yeah.
Day is through, I believe... 12. So, yeah, you still got some time.
I still got some time.
You got a little time.
But I want to be the winner for the day because we get paid money for the day.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go.
Didn't know how that worked.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. All right. So your highest live guy is Koepka right now.
Your highest one is Koepka.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. That's a update. Oh, what about Tiger? Oh, how did we forget about
He
that?
is not good. Tiger is no bueno. He is +2 today.
Oh, I told you to catch it early.
Yeah, you did.
Told you to catch. I was like, hey, you better catch Tiger early, man.
You did say that.
You want those good fields? You better catch it early. Yeah. Is Phil somewhere in here? Do we need to?
I did not pay attention to Phil.
He is -1.
Ooh.
He's 1 under.
He is better than Tiger. And that is not good.
And Phil is through 12. It says here right now, or at least on the PGA website I'm looking at right now.
Got it.
So there you go.
We're all in. There
so
we go.
your guy's not doing well.
Not good at all.
Okay. I didn't get that deep into it, but yes.
Your boy is all the way in.
You're all the way in.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. I like it. All right. So we'll give you Masters updates, of course, as the day goes on. It is it's actually really interesting, and I'm like I said, I'm not rooting for the bad guy in the movie. I'm not rooting for the bad guy in the movie. I'm rooting for golf, and
yes.
I think golf needs some good villains, so I want one of these live guys to just make it interesting. That's all. Yep. And I think if they make it interesting, you'll have more than enough of the PGA guys that'll be there in the running. Because right now, Koepka's the only guy in it.
Yeah.
From the Live Tour, that if I can look at it. He's the only guy that's really close. Actually, I think
that's what I'm saying.
Cameron Smith is tied. He's 1 under, but I mean, I think it might be it from looking at it.
Well, I mean, Koepka's right there at the top. I mean, he's still doing his thing.
Patrick Reed, actually.
And Patrick Reed was originally the leader this morning.
Oh, so I'll take that back. So Patrick Reed is still, he's 1 under, but he's done. But so he's still right there.
Yep.
Right, 1 under.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm just saying among the leaders to make it interesting.
I want those guys.
I want the villain there.
We know.
It's going to bring out a lot of competitive. We learned this from the women's national title game. We just want a villain there. Then I think it'll create more storylines. That's all going into the weekend.
No doubt.
All right. We'll give you more Masters updates coming up a little later on the show. Thank you for my man Patrick, who always had the Masters music ready to go. Okay, let's get into the NFL storylines here because we got a bunch of them coming up. Because, okay, first of all, it is official now that if you look at Bijan Robinson and where he's being mocked in all the top mock drafts, and I'm a bit of a mock slut, so I'll look at any mock, but just the most notable mock drafts, man, it basically at this point, he could go anywhere from top 10 to top 30.
Right.
In the NFL draft. That's basically where he is being mocked, anywhere around there. Great job by my man Joe Cook over at Inside Texas. He put together a kind of summary of all the mock drafts, the top mock drafts, and where Bijan Robinson has been mocked. So Mel Kiper's got him at 27, going to Buffalo. Todd McShay's got him at 18, going to the Detroit Lions. Bruce Feldman of the Athletics got him going to the Eagles at number 10. Lance Zierlein's going number 23 to the Buffalo Bills. So he's got Buffalo moving up, making a move to get him. Bucky Brooks has got the Chargers taking him at number 21.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jeremiah's got him going at number 14 to the Patriots. So, and I haven't seen any player that's a top, one of the top players at their position. He's the top running back, obviously, and it's a huge, precipitous drop-off after him in terms of the evaluation. I haven't seen any player that is even one of the top players at their position be mocked with so much inconsistency, if you will, to have so much of a kind of a wild card factor. They can go almost anywhere in the first round from top 10 to bottom of the first round. He won't leave the first round.
No.
But he also could go all the way down to 27, like they're saying, or 20, which is, I think that would be crazy. If he drops to 27, I'm gonna be so upset with the Dallas Cowboys. I'll be dog cussing them like Harge was last year.
Thank you.
For the Tyler Smith pick.
Well, no, I will be dog cussing them even more so.
You would be.
This time. Because I've been saying it since the very beginning. I said, if there is any way that this could happen where Bijan dropped to the Dallas Cowboys and the Cowboys don't take him, I am going to put that up there with the thought process of Randy Moss.
Oh, wow.
That was one of those epic fails because you thought you were trying to do the right thing.
That's why Jerry won't let it happen.
That's because he's going to have to live. He won't live
the
that
Randy
down.
Moss lesson,
Yes.
He will not let Bijan fall past him. I totally agree with you on that.
When you started to hear the reports that they were like, a lot of executives feel him as a gold jacket guy.
I'm hearing that too.
When you hear the appeal go, we think this guy could be that level. He could be a Hall of Fame level player you get. Then why would you go, well, the running back market is undervalued? You're like, oh, you get a Hall of Famer.
That's the thing that's what's
and
making me
I know
so
there's
angry.
a lot that has to happen before that. Where that's putting the cart way before the horse.
But there are exceptions to every rule.
But if you say if that is your talent evaluation, is this could be a gold jacket guy, and your other evaluation is, you know what? He might be an okay tight end for a few years. I think that decision seems pretty simple.
Thank you. Thank you. That
Your decision
has been my whole argument the entire time. That has exactly been my argument, and this is why it has been, and I'm going to use the word, they are prejudiced against running backs. They are.
No,
because if this is the one player that you are looking at and you have so many different levels of great prognosticators that go through these mock drafts so many times in their career, and this is the range of picks that he could be in, that just goes to show you that if he is that player, why are you not making the quote-unquote exception to the rule and say, no, this guy is going to be a difference maker on my team, and I don't care what the backlash is going to be for me picking him. He is a neat, possible gold jacket guy, because he is in a position that most of the time it's a lot easier for you to succeed at running back than it is for you to succeed at quarterback.
It's not the only position, though, that is discriminated against in the NFL. There's some other ones, but you're right. I totally agree with you.
And I think Zeke and Saquon right now are also hurting that stock as the fact that they're two guys, the last two
Christian McCaffrey, too.
Christian McCaffrey, but I don't think he's necessarily – I don't put him in that same group of guys where I go, the press is so negative around them so much that people go, Ezekiel Elliott, he stole all that money from the Cowboys, and you can't ever pay a guy that much. You can't have him. And Saquon keeps getting hurt, and you can't draft the guy.
But the hurt factor works with McCaffrey because it's like, why would you invest that much draft capital in any player? I don't give a damn how good he is when he's going to get hurt like that.
Yeah.
And we know now that it's also affecting who? Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
That same narrative and that same thing. So just getting, I think that's a part of it.
I think those guys, all those big name running backs that were taken top 5, they're pushing it back to where they go, oh, and you go, well, yeah, but that's top 5. Now you're saying he can't even go top 20 because those guys got hurt and they were top 5?
Yeah, you got to look at the lottery. The lottery is to me, that would be a risk. If he's outside the lottery, which is 14, 15 picks, the lottery of the NFL is the top 15, 16, then you take him outside of that. I think that's when teams will start trading up to take
exactly.
Him. Yeah. And that's when your Bills, Cowboys, like I said, the Eagles, I'm telling you, don't discount the Eagles because they could trade down.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have a lot of draft capital, too.
Yes, they could trade down and get like 14 and decide we're going to snag them before anybody else.
Well, here's the best way to describe what Bijan is as far as durability. Just take his freshman year, that when he was a Scorpion at Texas Tech. and he came back in and played that game. Take that, send that to all the NFL teams and say, this guy is going to show up every single week.
He will show up, but the NFL's a different beast.
Yeah,
all those other guys, Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley and Zeke Elliott, when you get to the NFL, and Zeke actually wasn't an injury-prone guy. Zeke, it's just the wear and tear of being a workhorse back in the NFL.
And he wasn't taking care of his body like, say, a Derrick Henry. But Derrick Henry ended up getting hurt,
and I
too.
think Bijan Robinson. Yeah, it's just that position, man, it's just so much wear and tear that I think for a lot of teams out there, they've recognized that unless you're an Adrian Peterson or Frank Gore, they are truly the exceptions to the rule. By the time you're 27, 28, like I said, you're geriatric as a running back.
But that's all you need him for. That's my whole thing. You don't have to give him the second contract. Get him early and use that part of him.
That's why the Bijan conversation is intriguing, because if you're a Buffalo Bills or you're the Eagles or you're a team that's right there on the cusp, could he be, if he's a gold jacket guy like Patrick was bringing up, people were talking about, man, this guy's he may be the most can't miss prospect in the draft potentially.
Correct.
He's that kind of guy. And if that's the case, he could put you right over the top. But to your point about you talk about prejudice against running backs. From 2006 to 2008, NFL draft, there were 11 running backs drafted in the first round. From 2006 to 2008, that's a 3-year period. 11 running backs drafted in the first round. In the last 10 drafts since 2013, you've had 12 first-round running backs selected total. You had 12 in the last 10 years, but in 06-08, you had 11 in a 3-year period. And of those 12, 7 were basically drafted in the first round since 2018. You go look at it. They were like, Saquon Barkley is like he was a high pick in the first round. Most of those other backs have been later picks in the second round. Saquon Barkley was he number 2 overall?
I think he was. I think it was either number 2 or number 3. He was one of those. The running backs
that have been drafted in the first round since 2013, they've been later round running backs, or middle round running backs. They haven't been drafted that high. Those are the ones that Patrick mentioned that are giving the running back position overall a bad reputation.
But none of them had the press like this guy has had the entire time.
Saquon had a lot of.
But he was the one. He was the one. I'm talking about since him.
Oh, since Saquon. Yeah.
Nobody else has been talked about at this level by so many teams where people are saying, if you don't draft him, blank, 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 blank. I haven't heard that. And to your point, he's the only person that anybody's talked about like this coming into this year's draft. Either he's got great agents that are getting the information out, but most importantly, guys have watched this guy play.
Watch the film.
Then they look at the film, and the film is telling you that. How many times you hear it? The eye in the sky don't lie. Well, that is the brightest eye in the biggest sky that you could ever see.
Yeah. I mean, how many guys do you see now in college that have an amazing sophomore year? And then everybody goes, well, they'll be the top person at their position. And then the next year, their junior year, people start to figure him out.
And Spencer was number 1.
And so for Bijan to go, this guy's going to be one of the best. And then they just go, well, the offense didn't help him out. But he should have been in the Heisman race and was in the Heisman race. We still think, how many guys get to be the number 1 pick at their position 2-3 years in a row? Bijan's been able to do that, which helps raise your stock a little bit more than some of these other guys where they go, well, our whole thing is based on 1 year. Like Will Anderson, without his junior year, I don't think his senior year puts him as the top defensive end. I think his junior year, sophomore 100%. Year put him there, but not his senior. So he doesn't have that same acclaim as Bijan, who goes, oh, no, every year we've seen him play. We've never seen him. We've never seen
the best running back in college football.
On the field.
Well, in college football.
Exactly.
Period. Even when Tom Herman was refusing to play him, and he played later in the year, everybody went, holy Chicago, this guy maybe the best running back we've seen. And then you're right, he backed it up with the junior campaign, the sophomore campaign, and then backed it up with the junior campaign. You're right. He was the best running back in college football every year he played.
And so I think that gives you a little bit more as a scout and a talent evaluator to go, consistency. Because what do we say? What's the biggest thing of what really makes a professional player is consistency. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so many guys on Texas we can name. They go, man, we see that flash. Oh man, they're amazing, but they can't do it every game, and you don't know when you're getting. you know what you were getting from Bijan every single game.
That's a great point, Patrick, about that he has been. Since we've seen him, I don't know if I'd put another running back ahead of him in evaluation.
No.
He may go into the NFL as the best running back in the league.
Yeah.
He'll be up there.
That's possible.
It'll be in the conversation.
I'm not going to say he's the best, but it's possible that he gets there and is the best running back in the league when he gets there. That's a possibility. I don't know the last time that happened. It's probably Saquon Barkley. Was the last time that could be said.
Because I think right now you're looking at what? Maybe Austin Eckler?
That's what I'm saying.
And Austin Eckler may not be happy going into the next season either. So.
Yeah, texter right here brings up a good point. Thinking Chargers trade Eckler and pick and move down to get Bijan. Kellen Moore move. Yeah, I could see that.
Yep.
Chargers will be also another great. I think Chargers, Buffalo Bills, and Eagles are looking at Bijan as a pick that can put them over the top potentially.
Yeah.
And some offenses may look at him in a different respect. But I'll say this about Bijan, because I know we're up against it, and I want to get to some NBA talk because I know the Mavs keeping hope alive. I want to get to that storyline. But this is the analytical study, analytical breakdown that has really kind of tanked the running back value over years. And I keep the stat with me because it is a mind-blowing stat. That if you look at running backs with at least a minimum of a minimum average of 75 carries per season, and this is 2001, so we're talking about 20 plus years now of this stat. Overall, their careers peak at age 27, and their rushing totals drop by 15% when they're 28, 25% when they're 29, and 40% by the time they're 30. There are exceptions to that rule. There's your Frank Gores, there's your Adrian Petersons, but most running backs, they fall into that category.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in drafting running backs early in the first round. Really don't believe in drafting them in the first round, period. But the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Serena Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size, but there are exceptions to every rule. And honestly, I do believe Bijan is an exception to that rule. But I could be biased because I'm a Longhorn. He's a lifetime Longhorn, and I've seen a lot of Bijan. To me, kind of this personal thing reminds me of marriage a little bit. I don't necessarily believe in marriage. I'm just telling you the truth is. My wife's going to be upset that I'm on being this honest on air. I don't necessarily believe in it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get to work either way. You can work, if you're going to get married, cool. If you want to just have a partnership, that can work too. It's all about the people that's involved in it. So I'm not necessarily a huge fan. I waited till like 40-something years to get married, so I'm not like a huge fan of it necessarily. But I made an exception for my wife because she's special. I don't believe in marriage. I believe in her. I don't believe in drafting running backs.
So you're not going to get in trouble by saying this?
No, I don't believe in marriage.
So
I believe in her. I put that in my vows. I was like, marriage. Kind of a sham. 50% of them fail. What you tell me? It's a 50-50 shot, all right? Based on the people that's involved. But,
are you taking heads or are you taking tails?
Exactly. So you want to argue about it, we can, but I'm just giving you the numbers. Y'all know the numbers, all right? Most of y'all out there have been divorced already. You get it, all right? Like I told her, I said, I don't believe in marriage, but I believe in you. I've done the research. I've done the due diligence. You are the real deal.
He did a deep dive.
I did a deep dive on it. I went a rabbit hole. All right, did he dive? I was like, you know what? You're the real deal. All right, marriage not, but you are the real deal. I'll commit to you. All right, I ain't committing to marriage. I'm committing to you. And the same thing about Bijan. I don't believe in drafting running backs in the first round. I really don't. I think that's probably poor. It's poor judgment for a personnel man overall. But Bijan Robinson, I will admit, that dude is the exception.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I'm biased.
Maybe I'm doing it for you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I'll commit to Bijan, not to drafting running backs in the first round. All right?
Hey, that has been my point from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That has been my entire point. It's like, hey, man, sometimes it just ain't for everybody. But Bijan is everybody's cup of tea.
Exactly. My wife.
So go and get it.
Boom. That's
there
what I
it
did.
is. There it is.
All right. There you go.
My boy did his thing. You did.
I was right on the cusp.
Oh, you was on. I was like,
digging a grave for myself.
Hey, Patrick, mute him. Mute him.
Rob was about to be coming into work tomorrow, even though we were off.
I was going, hey, Patrick, mute him.
She went to work today, too. She didn't work remotely at the house, so it's possible she heard that tape. I will get a text here quickly if she did not like it.
I love it. I love it.
I think I walked the line.
You did.
I walked the line right there.
You always do walk the line.
Between disaster disaster and between, the destiny.
Hey, happiness and choices,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? Destiny and disaster, man. There's a thin line between that. I will come right back. We'll talk about the Mavs keeping hope alive and Joel Embiid solidifying his case for MVP. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn.
It's Friday, folks, and I would say make sure you make those plans to go out there. I mean, that's where you go to Allstat Brewery. Mike Harge here for Allstat Beer. Allstat is born in Fredericksburg, Texas, right in the heart of the Texas Hill Country. They have a beautiful state-of-the-art brewery, so you may want to still make that trip out there because, of course, they've got the brewery indoors. You know what else they have going on out there? Live music. So plan a trip today. Go to allstatbeer.com, and you can find a local watering hole near you or where you can pick some up on the way home. Make Allstat your beer of choice. Allstat beer is 100% German beer made with 100% true German ingredients. That means German hops, malts, and yeast. And, of course, they make it with that natural hill country water. Allstat beer, no impurities, no regrets.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Now, usually it'd be a new theme Thursday, and I think it is a new theme Thursday, but the new theme for this Thursday, because it's our Friday, because it's our last day of on-air work this week, is going to be 512 Friday. So we're basically just going to bring 512 Friday to a Thursday because it is our Friday. You should start the weekend a little bit early.
Always.
That's what we doing this week with my man
It's Good
Patrick.
Friday tomorrow. A lot of people are going to have the day off.
I love it. So who we jamming right now? 512 Friday when we play jams from local bands and artists that you can catch live right here in the ATX.
This is Derek Davis. He is playing tonight at Saxon Pub.
Nice. I know what that is.
I
always
do,
feel
too.
cool when I know one of the spots that my man Patrick mentions for 512
Derek
Friday.
Davis.
See, Hard's writing it down.
Yeah.
I appreciate Hard because Hard actually is a man about town.
Try to be.
So there's a chance Hard might be out while some of these acts are playing, and
sure.
Hard will stop by. He's a
I
stop
will.
by guy. That's why he knows every damn
I
body.
will pop in.
He's a stop by. Now he ain't gonna stay. He ain't gonna stay very long.
100%.
But if Hard say he gonna pop in, he gonna stop by.
Yeah.
Hard is going to leave while there's still ice in the glass. No ice is melting while Hard is there.
I totally agree. And
Yep.
oh man, Hard is he's brilliant with the Irish goodbye, man. It's amazing. The stuff that he gets in.
I love it.
All right, let's get to some NBA discussion. 512 Friday, by the way, if you missed any of these suggestions for 512 Friday, you can always go catch up with them on the website at hornfm.com. If you are wondering about Texas baseball today has been rescheduled, is the best way to say
That's
it.
right.
They basically rescheduled this game for Sunday. Correct,
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
And everything else is
On time as normal.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
right now, because we were originally thinking there might be a doubleheader brought into play.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
But they had a conversation, and Coach Pierce was on with B&E. Make sure you go to thehornfm.com, the podcast page, so you can catch up on that. And then we got an email sent to us earlier today talking about how
see it there.
the game got changed.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I guess I should have looked at the email then.
Yeah, I think I forwarded it.
My bad. All right, let's get to some NBA news, notes, and nuggets here, gentlemen. We're talking about the Mavs and that they're into playoff mode already. They're in playoff mode. If they don't win out, they're not going to make the play in. And they were prior to last night. They were I believe a half a game. No, sorry, a full game.
Full game.
They were a full game behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, because of their win, the Mavs win 123-119 over the Kings. Technically, they are tied, but the Oklahoma City Thunder have the tiebreaker.
Yep.
So they gotta keep winning, and they gotta hope that Oklahoma City Thunder keeps losing. Well, that was a big win for them, guys. Kyrie Irving showed up. He was big. Luka, he was great. He had 29 points, 10 rebounds, but Kyrie Irving had 31 points, but 19 of those points came in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, showed up big for him. Also, Christian Wood had 12 points in the fourth quarter. So shout out to Christian Wood, showed up big for him. But they found a way to get the win, and they were trailing. They were down 11, I believe, at the half. They were down 13 in the third quarter. I figured, oh man, this is going to be the beginning of the end. Kyrie Irving put his cape on.
Man, he
Came to the rescue.
He had people on skates yesterday. I always talk about his ball handling ability because he is so quick, but the way he's been shooting lately and the way he's been able, he can maneuver around the basket like nobody else I've ever seen and use his hand any kind of way. So it was real impressive to watch him play last night. And it's funny because you're doing everything you can to avoid being in the play-in game, but that's the only way they're going to get into the playoffs. That's their only form of getting there. And to your point, they have to win, and they have to win a lot. But their last game of the year, which may come down to everything, is against the San Antonio Spurs.
Hey.
And you already know they tanking.
The good news for
Well,
Spurs,
they've been
they can win
winning.
it. It makes no
Yeah.
difference.
That's right.
The Spurs have
that's
been
right.
winning for no reason. Well, yeah, they beat the other day. They weren't supposed to beat.
Oh, I can't. But they
Right?
did win a game the other day.
Yeah, they weren't supposed to win. I
They
forgot who it
did.
was.
Yeah, they did not win. They're not going to win tonight. They may.
They
They're
may
the Moody
'cause
tonight.
They're at the Moody
they're
tonight and Saturday.
And Portland is also not a good team.
And Portland pretty much has shut it down because I don't even think Dame
Lillard's
Lillard's not going to
playing.
play.
No, he doesn't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. I exactly have no idea how the NBA, and this is exactly what Adam Silver wanted. for there to be drama at the end of the season. There's a ton of drama with these games. Yeah, we're talking about a team, the Spurs, that's tanking, but yet they're going to have a say in who ends up making the playoffs.
Right.
That's what you want, storyline-wise. So, but there was 16 lead changes in that game between the Mavs and the Kings. But Kyrie Irving, man, showing up big. And recently, guys, Mark Cuban essentially admitted that he took blame for this failed experiment. I should say that. I'll get the quote here, but he basically decided to take blame for the failed experiment. He did meet with the media. He did also say that he's going to try to keep Kyrie, re-sign Kyrie.
I think that's a smart move.
Because otherwise you just did this trade and then you cut bait and you get nothing out of it.
Correct.
Now, you may try and sign him and then flip him for something else down the road, or you may try and – the big question is, what is your game plan going forward? Because there is not a lot of guys that fit the mold of what you want to play with, especially with a Kyrie and a Luka of, hey, we need a stretch five that can also rim protect. There's not that many of those available in the league, and unless you get one, you have no real hope to do anything.
Well, here's the thing for me, and that's the one thing that I've been continuing to talk about. And then I found out somebody else was on my side. Ty Henderson from B&E is not a Dwight Powell fan either.
Look, no one's a Dwight Powell fan. Some of us just don't hate him as much as you. None of us got Dwight Powell jerseys.
Yeah, your hatred just goes to another level for Dwight Howard. But to Patrick's point, and I did hear that this morning with Ty, to Patrick's point, Mark Cuban said, quote, "I don't think it's kids' problem that we didn't have an identity. The game changed in ways we didn't expect it to change, so I blew it. It was on me personally because the game changed in terms of the take foul and the speed of the game." I don't even know really what that meant, but he's just taking blame for it.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those things too where you go, you could have made the Kyrie trade. You just had to make another trade or two afterwards.
Yes.
Like you had to fix your roster and go, all right, let's see, maybe we flip Christian Wood out because he's having an okay season, but we can trade size for size, and maybe we can get him off and get someone else who won't score as well for us, but we can get a guy who can hit a couple threes and play and rim protect. And maybe we could get somebody like maybe we can fit Tim Hardaway Jr. We need someone else off the bench, but we got Kyrie. And look, we're going to have to put
24.
He played very well. He kept him in that game in the first half.
You hear what his dad said about the Mavs? That basically Luka and Kyrie aren't leaders, and the Mavs are missing leaders.
No, I mean,
he said he disagreed with his father.
He did. He came out strong. I love my dad.
Yeah, I mean, Luka's not yet at the level that he needs to be. I think he can get there, but he's not there yet just because you can see that this team doesn't rally around him like teams rally around leaders. And I think Kyrie, people really like him on teams he plays with. You either really like him or you never talk to him ever again. That's kind of the two sides.
You can go from one to the other.
And you can. This Mavs team seems to like Kyrie pretty well.
Oh, no, they love him.
Yeah, so I don't think it's any of that problem. It's just you built a roster that is now two guys, and also everybody else kind of does the same thing they do too, but they're not as good.
So you say it's incomplete.
Yeah, you have Jaden Hardy, who is another guy who plays like that, and Reggie Bullock, who's another guy who kind of plays like that. So other than Maxi Kleber, everyone's the same kind of player on that team, and that's not a team. That's just a bunch of clones.
And that's
a bunch of dudes out there hooping.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the challenge for Mark Cuban, man. You got to have a vision how to build around Luka.
Yeah. Well, that's what Nico Harris is supposed to be doing.
Exactly. He's unique, and he's a unicorn, which makes him so special. That also makes it tougher at times to build around him.
Yeah.
You've got to have a unique approach to it. So I'm with you. I think I'm glad he took ownership. Now, will Jason Kidd be a part of that?
And
vision? That's the question.
And is Jason Kidd going, all right, I need JaVale McGee, and then JaVale McGee can't do anything and can't even stay on the court.
That's my favorite player.
He's not Dwight Powell.
I will take him over Dwight Powell twice on Sunday.
I agree with you.
For real.
Listen, I'm not taking up for Dwight Powell. They need to find them they need a solution to their big man issue. They've had a big man issue for a long time.
They should have got Capella. And I know a lot of people don't like Capella, but I like Capella because he is a rim protector and he can score.
Yeah. I don't mind Capella. I don't know if he can stretch quite enough, but I think that he's definitely an option because Atlanta's going to have to do some things too. But this Mavs team, they're not that far off of it, but you have to look at a team like Milwaukee and go, well, did you see how they got a generational talent and they built around the generational talent? and they went, let's go get Drew Holiday, and it's elevated Drew Holiday's game
Love
to
Drew
another level
Holiday.
because they go, we get this really good perimeter defender, and he can also distribute, and he can play, and he can hit threes, but he also doesn't need to be in the paint as much, so we can leave a little bit more room for Giannis in the paint. And we'll have Robin Lopez, and it's taking Robin Lopez's game to another level because they can use him defensively, but Giannis can also protect the paint as well. So now they can have kind of two guys patrol around there in the paint. All of those things are designed in a way to accentuate what Giannis does instead of hurt it. And the Mavs have not done that. They've gone the opposite way and basically gone, well, Luka can't score all 100 points a game that we need to score, so we'll get another guy who can score 50. And we have a bunch of guys who can score 10, so maybe we'll put up 160 a game.
Yeah, no, it's a failed experiment, but I just want to see him in the playoffs, which I think everybody does.
No, everybody wants to see him in a play-in game, especially to see him in that very short series where it's, hey, man, you got to win 2 in a row.
Anything can happen.
Remember what he did when when they were in the bubble.
Yeah,
That's when he went off.
And Kyrie can go off, too.
Exactly.
That's why they're a great wild card in the playoffs, and I love that element. Okay, let's talk about...
So are the Lakers.
Yes, they are. We can talk about the Lakers too if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to talk NBA MVP or Lakers? We ain't got time for
let's do the MVP. I like this conversation.
We can talk Lakers next time we talk NBA.
Yeah.
But okay, because Joel Embiid, I think he solidified the MVP with that 52-point performance versus the Lakers. 103-101 win. Now, they did not have Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams. They were shorthanded with some guys. But guys, that performance, first player in the shot clock era to score more than half of his team's points while shooting 80% from the field. He joined Wilt Chamberlain as the only player to record at least 50 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists while shooting 80% from the field. And he was double-teamed, a lot, like 13 times, I believe. And yet this team scored 23 points when he was double-teamed on those possessions because he made the right decision, either being able to score or getting the ball to the right guy. He right now is playing his best basketball. It's going to be a historically tight race between him and Jokic going down the stretch.
Well, the thing about it is, too, you said that they didn't have Jaylen Brown. Boston did have Jason Tatum in there. They had Marcus Smart. Yeah. They did have their core except for that one piece. And they could have won that game, and they should have won that game. But Joel Embiid he was 20 of 25 from the field, shot almost 80% from the field, and was 12 of 13 from the free throw line. He was doing his thing during that time, and you start looking at who he was playing with. James Harden, he had 20 points. He played 40 minutes in that game, but you don't even talk about James Harden anymore.
You don't.
You never bring. We never have that conversation of James Harden anymore because what you've seen is Joel Embiid has said, "This is my team, and I want everybody to throw me the ball."
I am the captain.
And credit to Harden for playing the role he's playing.
Exactly.
To not
he
make
wasn't that guy.
No, he has not been for a long time, and he's finally finding his spot where he's a little bit older and can just be like, "Oh, no, let's just win."
Yeah,
I'm tired of losing.
Because he's got. That's the other point of it too, and that's a great point. How much more money do you want? Your legacy is also wrapped around if you can win a championship, and you have never been that guy, James Harden. Now you're playing with the guy where a lot of the pressure is off of you. Joel Embiid wants the pressure on him, and then you can sprinkle in your 20, 25 points, and people aren't even really thinking about you, so you're still effective that way. So I'm all about that. I'm all about that.
I think Daryl Morey has done more harm than good in this probably. I think he did okay for a while, but his constant berating of every single person who thinks anybody else could be an MVP is an idiot and should have their vote revoked, and everyone should vote Embiid or you're an idiot.
But that's Daryl Morey.
I think has annoyed some people, and so some people may vote against him out of spite for Daryl Morey, which is not right. He's got it this year. He's also, I like Steph Curry. What he said basically was, we know what everybody else can do. Giannis is playing the same way Giannis has played, which is an MVP level player, and Jokic is playing the same way Jokic has played, which is an MVP level player. Joel Embiid went from an MVP level player to a better player this season. So that's why you reward him with the MVP, because you go, this guy actually took his game to another level when he was number 3 in the MVP voting, and now you have to give him something because you go, he's playing even better than he was playing when he was on the MVP ballot.
Right. I agree. I think this has been his best year. Probably not his best year, but it's been more intense year.
I think it's been his most dominant year.
Yeah, because you're right. I think Giannis is now getting the Michael Jordan, LeBron James thought process now because you could truly give it to him every year.
Yeah, you give it to Jokic every year.
You could give it to Jokic every year.
And technically, you could give it to Embiid every year.
Yep.
It's just he falls a little bit out of it because he's had more help and he hasn't, he's been more healthy this year as well. But I think it's just he took it to that another level to where a lot of people just, for whatever reason, didn't like his style of play as much.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe it's because he shot some more threes that they didn't like or whatever it was, or because he played with so many other stars and they didn't like the whole trust the process and how many people they put him with. Now that's kind of going down. And, yes, he does have James Harden, but it's not the –
It is not the other James Harden that we're used to.
Yeah, I think, this for me, it seems like it's pretty – after that 52-point game, you just go, hey, man, you got to play well down the stretch. You did that. Jokic has tailed off a little bit now at the end of the year, and Giannis is still doing what Giannis does. But I don't know why you give it to him again unless it's out of spite for Embiid at this point.
Can I get to this Bleacher Report story about Joel Embiid real quick from the Players Tribune? And you see this story?
I didn't see it.
About how he learned, claims how he learned, one of the ways he learned how to shoot or that improved his shooting. So it's some Bleacher Report, so I blame them if it ain't real, but it seems real. Born in Cameroon, Embiid came to America as a 16-year-old. He had size but no basketball skills. He wrote about how he learned to play in the Players Tribune. Quote, so I'm chilling one night, and I go on YouTube, and I'm thinking about how to figure out this shooting thing. I go to the search box like, quote, how to shoot three-pointers. Nah. How to shoot good form. Nah. Then the light bulb went off, man. I typed in the magic words, white people shooting three-pointers. Listen, I know it's a stereotype, but have you ever seen a normal 30-year-old white guy shoot a three-pointer? That elbow is tucked, man. The knees are bent. The follow-through is perfect. Always. You know how in America there's always an older guy wearing like Everlast sweat shorts at the court. That guy is always a problem. His J is always wet. I seriously got to the league by watching YouTube and living in the gym. There's no other way to explain it.
Oh, I love it.
This is from Bleacher Report.
Hey,
they said it claimed that he wrote it on the Players Tribune.
Whatever it takes, man. There's a form.
Blame
At least he didn't do it for Bucky.
I was like,
because Bucky shoots a set shot. You didn't get it from the Buckster.
You got to type in. You got to make sure you type in the right word. White people shooting three-pointers, not just shooting form.
Dude, that's like I'm going to go to Lifetime Fitness and check this out.
That is, oh man, that seems like fake news. Like I said, Bleacher Report put it out there. Blame them. All right, we'll come right back. We got the flex on the other side right here on Baltimore Live 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday is the theme of New Theme Thursday. It's where my man Patrick takes songs from artists, very talented human beings who you have a chance to see live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Vibin' and the Submersibles, and they are playing tonight at the Parish.
I like that. There you go. If you missed any of these suggestions from my man Patrick for the 512 Friday, which is the theme of New Theme Thursday, we'll get that to you at hornfm.com. Okay, just real quick, since we're talking about the Flex, shout out to the guys who had the Flex last night, and shout out to Corey Mose who joined those guys. Great stuff. You can go check it out at flxatx.com, flxatx on all of your social media platforms as well. They also had Buda Johnson basketball coach Ben Kennison on with them as well.
Yes, they did.
But Corey Mose of K-View Sports, who is fantastic. Matter of fact, we're going to play some sound of Corey Mose. He's always working hard. He's covering Texas football as well. We'll have some of that sound coming up a little bit later on in the next segment when we talk Texas football, go behind the burn orange curtain. So we'll do that coming up. But go check out flxatx.com. They still got all the other older Flex shows in there. The one with Nico Hamilton's up there. The one with
Bryce
Hager is up there as well. Thank you. That's up there. So go check it out, flxatx.com. We'll have a Masters update on the other side. Also, we'll go behind the burnt orange curtain, talk about Texas basketball. Facing Marquette next season. We'll get into that. Also, the transfer portal heating up for Texas basketball. We'll talk Texas spring football as well. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. I knew I liked it. I said that when we were in the break. I was like, I like this. I'm going to let it play a little bit. Man, I like it even more now. 512 Friday. I know. That is the theme of New Theme Thursday. I also want to mix y'all up there. That's my man Patrick. He plays jams from local bands, artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to catch live right here in ATX. And I'm like, hard, I'm writing this one down. Who is this?
This is Ray Prim.
Wow.
He is playing Saturday at Saxon Pub.
Okay. Man.
Ray's a very talented, good guy, former football player.
Bro, I don't even know what genre I would describe this as.
He's a singer-songwriter, but he produces a lot of his own stuff and gets a ton of other people to work with him and puts together really cool stuff.
What's the name of this song?
Find a Suit.
Find a Suit?
Find a Suit.
That's not what I expected.
Find a suit. Well, the songs, you can be broke by yourself.
Hey, I've been broke by myself. What do you mean? This might be
I've
my
been broke with people. I've been broke by myself.
Been broke in
We've been together, man.
You've been broke in a lot of different ways.
Exactly.
Hey, man, you got to make it work. All right, 512 Friday is the theme of New Theme Thursday. We'll get you a Masters update here coming up momentarily. And I'm telling you, this Masters is getting interesting. And ain't nobody talking about Tiger. That's probably the best news for this Masters. And this Masters has been entertaining and thrilling, and Tiger ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yep.
They've been. Do you remember when Malik Jefferson did this and he upset some Longhorn fans? And actually, you can't even find the sound and audio anymore. Not even CB can find it on in the Twitterverse or out there online. At one time, Malik Jefferson said like he was tired of Longhorn fans talking about Vince Young and celebrating Vince Young. And he said basically the reason is because that y'all keep celebrating that and nobody wants to talk about the future or the present.
Which is fair.
And wants to look forward to the next championship. When's the next one come? Let's get the next one. We can celebrate that. Yeah, but let's get the next one, then the next one after that. And you can't even find. I think Texas used their money to scrub it from the internet. You can't even find it.
Get that out of here.
Get that out of here. You can't even find it anywhere. Yeah. But I think golf needs that. Right? Golf needs, it's time to, I'm not saying I want to forget about Tiger. Tiger was amazing. Tiger was great. He changed the game, in terms of, from a player standpoint, more than any player probably in the history of the game in terms of impact. And we all love Tiger and what he did for the game. But it's time now to start it's time to start embracing new storylines. New personalities, new dynamic, different rivalries and things of that nature. So I think this is a great Masters for golf. Like I said, it's interesting as hell and ain't got nothing to do with Tiger.
That is interesting.
Right? It was the last time we were that, captivated by a Masters without having anything to do with Tiger. It's been a while because in 2019 he just won it, a couple of years ago?
Yeah. And that's when the world really decided, hey, we're back with Tiger now.
Yeah.
Because remember, they were loving to hate him at that point.
I remember, he had the villain. He went here, hero heel flip like they do in wrestling, which was also good for golf.
I love it.
When Tiger did that was actually good for golf. They brought a lot of people back to it because he was a celebrity and a superstar. Yes, it was a scandal for him, so he had to go, obviously find a way to overcome that kind of stuff. But in terms of golf, we know for any sport, the salacious storylines surrounding the sport itself often bring people to it. We just learned that from women's basketball.
Yep.
So anyway, we'll give you a Masters update here in just a second. You can be a part of the show. Specs text line 512-337-3776. Ray Prim getting a lot of love on the Specs text line.
Talented guy.
Very talented.
No question about that. Text says Coach Boone told his players to find a suit. Song should have been in the movie. It does sound like it could have been in the movie. I like that. Actually, good stuff there. Also, you can hit us up via Twitter. Ahmed Rod Babers in the Twitterverse, Harge at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse, and Patrick Davis, the real MVP at It's Patrick Davis. Okay, I wish I could give you because I'm trying to give Masters updates, but honestly,
just go off the one on
television.
TV. Do that one.
Seems to be a little bit more accurate than the websites are, whether you're talking about the PGA Tour website or the Masters website. But right now, and I'm sorry, let's get ready. Please, Patrick, whenever you get a chance here.
Let me make sure I get this right.
Yeah, please, thank you. You keep the call voice here. Hard, you got it better. You know what? You're better for this because my voice does not sound good with this music. You do. You got this.
I got you. Rod Babers.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
From the Masters in Augusta, Georgia, the leaderboard breaks down as such.
I like that.
Victor Hovland. Mileage 7.
Mm-hmm.
He's finished for the day. Shot a 65. He's tied for first place with John Rahm and one of the villains from NWO. Liv.
Damn right.
Brooks Koepka at -7.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Young
Tied for the lead.
from the United States of America is in at 4th place at -5. Shane Lowry -4 as we continue to move forward. Xander Schauffele comes in at -4 in 5th place as well. Scotty Scheffler is trying to make a move. He's at -2. Can't rush that. Can't rush that at all. And Jordan Spieth,
Give it to me.
tied for 5th
It's beautiful.
at -4. 9 holes in, he is still trying to make a move as well.
Also, member of the Live Tour, the villains of this narrative,
Phil Mickelson.
Cameron Smith.
Yes.
He's tied for 13th at 2 under.
He's tied with Phil.
He is. He's tied with Phil.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
flabbergasted that Phil's where he is. Neiman also. When he part of that Live crew.
Yes, he was.
He's also tied for 13th at 2 under. A lot of those guys are 2 under right now.
Those
with
guys
Scotty
are
Scheffler
battling.
and Morikawa.
Yes.
2 under. Got a group of those guys.
I love Colin Morikawa.
Patrick Weed, another one of those Live guys. He's at 1 under right now. Should we go down to Tiger? Where is Tiger?
Tiger, you don't want to look.
Where's Tiger? Tiger
Tiger is +2 for the day.
Damn.
Yeah, he didn't do well. But hey, there's always tomorrow.
I told y'all to catch him early. Oh, okay. All right.
And one of the guys that I was looking forward to playing,
Ooh.
Max Homa, not doing well.
Not doing well.
Thought he was going to be the guy. He is +2 right now as well.
Dude, Dustin Johnson is in trouble. He's hurting right now.
Yeah,
he's at +1,
Oh,
I believe, right through 12.
yes.
I thought he'd be one of those guys that might have a good Masters. That ain't working out for him right
And
now.
Bubba Watson is exactly who I thought he was. +5, tied for 78.
Oh.
Yes.
What?
Bubba,
What happened to Bubba?
not doing well.
Bubba.
Yeah.
Man, I'm like Bubba Gump out there.
Yeah.
Bubba Gump and Bubba. What's wrong with Bubba?
Out of there.
Wow.
Out of there.
So, okay. This is what I'm saying. Tiger,
But I do want to give a special shout out
give it to me.
to Freddie Couples.
Okay.
Freddie Couples is 63 years old, and he is tied for 25th place. He went 1 under today. Freddie Couples, do
How old
your
is he
thing.
again?
63 years old.
All right.
With
Yeah.
a bad back.
Respect.
With
Respect.
a bad back.
Respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great job.
I mean, they just bragging about beating Tiger at this point. He's like, I beat Tiger.
Exactly.
Brought him in the clubhouse to beat Tiger.
Hey, do you see him say he had both his legs? I beat 2-legged Tiger.
I beat 2-legged Tiger. Exactly. It's like, man, that's for it. I'm just trying to beat Tiger out there. Like I said, I hate to root for the bad guy in the movie. I'm not rooting for the bad guy in this movie either. But I do think it would be great for the storyline of golf, especially this weekend down the stretch, if 1, 2 of those Live guys are in it. And we know these Live, like I said, Greg Norman is telling, he's encouraging guys to celebrate on the 18th green NWO style. All right. He wants them to wear their Live. Are they wearing their Live stuff?
No, I haven't seen it.
Have you seen
I
any
haven't
of it?
seen it yet.
They were
no.
wearing it in some of the warm-ups. Some of the guys were like, I believe they were torn. Some of the guys were wearing it doing like the warm-ups and some of those different competitions prior to the Masters. And some of the guys decided it was disrespectful to the tradition of the Masters to wear their Live stuff. But I want these guys to fully embrace the villainy. I think it would be great for golf. Like I said, if you're the NWO and Phil Mickelson, he's the Hollywood Hogan of this thing. If he done
Phil's the only one who will do what I want them to do if they win.
what's that?
I want him to bust out the spray paint. See how I spray paint the jacket, man. You got to full NWO, spray paint the jacket. Put the big LIV.
So Koepka wins.
Koepka wins LIV on the back of the jacket.
And then Phil comes up with the spray paint. And
Yeah.
then Koepka turns around with the jacket on. He just spray painted.
And then they just
LIV,
all look
baby.
at, and they look at the
It's
fans
celebrate.
and go, "Are you not entertained?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Please. This is what I want
And
for
that's
golf.
when they start throwing the beer cans
Guys,
at them too.
You want to
during the thing.
You want to
Yeah.
steal headlines from the NFL draft potentially? You in the Masters like that? Ain't nobody do that. We were talking about the Masters in 2 weeks during the NFL
Exactly.
draft. Like, man, we gotta get back to this Masters LIV stuff, man. It's crazy. I'm telling you.
Did y'all see this?
And I'm gonna need Rory or one of those other guys to run up like T.O. did. All right, no, not T.O. What was
No,
the guy?
George T.
George T.
George T.
T.O. When
That's
T.O.
right.
was standing on the star and run up there there and he's trying to push and like take the jacket off of Brooks Koepka if he wins the damn thing and try to strip it off, and then just a
Like
melee
George
breaks out.
T.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
That will be great.
Oh,
that will be great.
Come on, golf. Don't let me down here.
And then all of a sudden, you hear Stone Cold Steve Austin's music hit, and that's when Rory comes running from the back.
Exactly. And
That's my jacket.
Phil gets the Hollywood Hogan music.
Phil comes out wearing boas all of a sudden.
He does. He's got the, because I don't know if he's got the scruff now, but for a while he had the Hollywood Hogan kind of scruff working.
He's good now.
Right? I don't know what Phil. I don't know. I think Phil was just going through some hard times.
That's because he knew he was going to live.
He knew he was going to live.
Yeah.
He's a villain now.
He had to embrace it.
I'm telling you, man, this could be amazing for golf. Let's do it, guys.
Well, you're close. I mean,
because a lot of them guys are still in competition.
Is on the leaderboard,
and he's an a-hole.
Yes,
Koepka's got some a-hole in him.
Yes.
If anybody would celebrate on the 18th green and pull out at least a live shirt or something, at least just take your shirt off.
Yes,
take your shirt off, Koepka. You ain't got to spray paint because that'd be a lot. Then you might get arrested at the Masters.
Yeah.
Take off your shirt and put on a live shirt right there on the 18th green. Oh, that'd be.
And remember, he just won. He just
he's
won.
feeling himself.
Oh yeah, he's dialed in.
Yeah, someone says, see, the fans want this, man. Texas says, bleach out your stash, color your fabric like that. Yeah, like Hollywood did, Hollywood Hogan. I would love it. All right, that's your Masters update. We'll give you another one coming up a little bit later on. All right, gentlemen, let's get behind the burnt orange curtain a little bit here. First, let's talk Texas basketball.
Yep.
You talked about the, I don't know if we brought it up on the show yesterday, but I believe you talked about it like in the break. We talked about it a little bit, and you brought it up when the news actually broke at the time. But talk about petty and storylines and rivalries. So Texas is playing in the Big East Big 12 Challenge or Battle next season.
Yep.
And Texas will be facing off against Marquette, Shaka Smart's team.
Shaka Smart.
Says John Rothstein in the latest report. He revealed all the matchups from that Big East Big 12 battle. All right, gentlemen, what say you? At least you know you're going to, I mean, we know Texas has been beefing up non-conference schedules, trying to play more big-time opponents.
Yep.
At least you know now this will be a part of that. You're going to have a tough non-con. I haven't looked at it just yet, but I'm sure it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I think this is great. I think this is great for all involved. I think Shaka, who did a great job, he won the Big East last year, did a good job. Everybody still gives him a hard time because he didn't get past the first weekend. He did win a game, though. He did win a game in the playoff. I mean, in the
hey, man, they beat UConn. They beat UConn twice or once?
They had to beat them. They won the East. They won it twice.
They had to beat them at least once.
They had to beat them at least once.
Yeah. So they're a good basketball team, and again, Shaka got his type of guys, and that's what he's going to continue to do. He doesn't need the McDonald's All-American. He wants guys that are going to be in the program for a long time, and that's what it's all about. So to me, I'm excited for the matchup because, I mean, look, say what you want about Shaka. He was a good dude at the University of Texas.
He's a good coach, too.
And he's a damn good coach.
You got to be more than just a good coach at Texas, though. It takes more, as we know. It's a lot.
Exactly. There's a lot.
It's a lot of responsibilities with that job.
That's right. But I'm excited for this opportunity to play them in that Big East, Big 12 channel. Well, will it still be Big 12? No, it'll be.
It'll be Big 12.
One last year.
Yeah, you're right. One last year.
That's the one last year.
And this is the scary Big 12 because you're adding Houston into this Big 12
that's
as well.
Right. This year. That's right. That's right.
Is Cincinnati going to be?
Yes, everybody's here now.
So everybody's coming in.
Cincinnati's kind of a competitive college basketball program.
Yep.
Yeah.
Normally they are.
My man CB points out way too early rankings have Marquette as the number 2 team in college basketball.
See?
So they'll be good. We don't know if they'll be that good, but they'll be good either way. Pinche Gringo says Marquette beat UConn twice.
Yep.
Damn, thank you for that, Pinche Gringo.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. See, Marquette, I mean, they were on. A lot of people had them making a run. I believe I had them going a little bit further in my bracket, too.
We did. I thought they were going to be in the Elite 8 Final Four area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually one of the knocks on Shaka, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But this is a regular season game.
No question. But a lot of Longhorn fans looking forward to that. So Texas. Speaking of Texas basketball, another story that is out there, Texas basketball related, is, and this is just really just college basketball related. LJ Cryer, the Baylor guard. He is, I think at this point it's official. He has entered his name into the transfer portal or is expected to. And that's a report from ESPN. So and the list of schools that reportedly are interested in LJ Cryer, I won't go through all of them, but Texas is one of them. But the list is extensive.
I was fixing to say,
it's got Kansas, K-State, Houston, Zags, A&M, Nebraska, Mississippi State. I mean, it goes on and on.
Well, the K-State connection is obviously Jerome Tang.
Okay.
Jerome Tang probably was the one who recruited him there, and therefore that's where he's at right now. So I'm just looking at it a different way. I think he's somebody that we need to get. I think LJ Cryer can shoot. He can dribble. He's an assist guy, and his main thing is he wants to play point guard. So and now we know that Tyrese Hunter has entered himself into the draft, meaning he may not be in the draft, but he's going to go test the water, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know right now where Texas stands with them, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
K-State would be one of the favorites to acquire the services of one LJ Cryer. But that's a big move right there with him entering the transfer portal. We know why. It's just because Baylor has a lot of guards.
Yep. And I don't know if the relationship.
I
don't know the relationship between he and Scott Drew. I don't know what that relationship is, but Jerome Tang seems to be a guy that everybody gravitates to.
Yeah, and I mean, he said Jerome Tang recruited him.
Yeah.
So you know, we said Rodney Terry recruited a lot of these guys. Jerome Tang was one of those guys for Baylor. So,
and Patrick, you pointed that out a lot this year about what Scott Drew was missing at Baylor this year because of Jerome Tang not being there.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an assistant coach that's with you for that long, which I mean, I think he was with him for over a decade, if not more.
Yeah.
So that's the guy where you go, that guy's recruited a ton of your players. That guy knows exactly where all of your faults are and how to pick up on them and fix that. And when you lose that guy, you as a coach have to figure out what you're missing because he can't tell you what you're missing anymore.
Exactly.
And it takes a little while. And Scott Drew will adjust to it eventually. But in that first year, we saw Jerome Tang come out and coach very, very well.
Yeah, no, they were probably the surprise team of the Big 12. Actually, football and basketball.
Oh, no, they were definitely the surprise team of the Big 12 in basketball because probably they were projected to be one of the worst.
Yes.
They were projected either the worst or second worst team in the Big 12, and they ended up a 3 seed in the tournament.
I mean, probably second behind TCU, of course, in the Big 12. But they were definitely a surprise team, and they won the Big 12.
Yeah.
So give them props for that. Yeah,
Big time.
K-State's athletic program, actually.
Because they get the best little guys in sports.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a program that's getting better, smaller athletes than K-State. I don't know how that works out. Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes
Darren
on.
Sproles.
Yeah.
Lockett's
another one. Yeah.
And then, Marquise Noel this year.
Yeah.
Marquise Noel wins the shortest of the shorts.
The shortest of the shorts.
But he's the thickest of the thick. You know what I'm saying?
Like that, thick with it.
Yeah.
Okay, Texas basketball, of course. We'll get, obviously, some more conversation about Texas basketball as the transfer portal heats up. Yep. And also recruiting as well. But I want to switch over to Texas football just a little bit because Corey Mose, who joined the Flex Crew yesterday, and they did a great job. Shout out to the Flex Crew. Check out FLXATX.com. Well, they actually had Corey Mose on, and he does a great job. But he actually is covering Texas football as well. And he put together a little montage of players talking about Quinn Ewers and giving their thoughts on Quinn Ewers. Now, there are, like I said, it's about 4 or 5 different players who are available. They did not have the media availability of the players up by the time our show started. So we'll get some of that sound from some of the other guys because I'm looking forward to hearing some of that too. But he did put together a montage of players talking about Quinn Ewers. And honestly, the fact that Quinn Ewers has not been a huge hot topic of conversation in the offseason is probably a good sign because I think if he was doing poorly if it was some sort of negative reviews about him, I think that it would be a huge topic of conversation. It's actually been a relatively quiet spring other than the Xavier Worthy broken hand conversation that we had to start the spring. But Quinn Ewers obviously is the biggest topic of conversation. So here is a little mashup, a montage, if you will, from Corey Mose getting together all the different players talking about Quinn Ewers and how he has performed so far this spring.
I've been trying to get a pick from Quinn, and I was supposed to have one today. I I see him. It's a little bit late, but Quinn, he's improved. His confidence went way up.
You can tell that he's came a long way learning like the defense and knowing what we're playing, even if we're disguising on him.
I think getting Arch definitely made Quinn step up his game for sure.
Just being somebody that you really, really like got a lot of faith in. You know, he's a guy that I got a lot of trust in.
He does a good job of looking off the safeties, and I can tell you that came a long way.
You can just tell Quinn is in a different mode this year, the way he carries himself, the way he comes to the facility. He started to be more of a leader, and I'm loving the way he's stepping up for sure.
All right, the 4 players that were available that you might have heard, it was Jay Witt, Jaron Thompson, Jatavian Sanders, and Jahdae Barron. Obviously, it was a combination of those guys talking about what they have observed from Quinn Ewers. The biggest improvement, or at least the most discussed, I think, development in Quinn Ewers' spring so far, in my opinion, has been that they're saying the footwork is better. And that it has been a focus of him and a priority for him all season long, or off season long, I should say, for him to improve the footwork. And to me, just of all the things I've heard a lot of different things. I've heard he's now being a much more of a vocal leader, wants to lead, wants to be a guy that leads from the front, leads by example, but also a guy that can call out players and is a vocal guy that can be someone that can have peer accountability. He's a soft-spoken player, I think, naturally. I just think his personality, he doesn't want to be a very, braggadocious, outspoken guy. That's just really not his nature. But he knows in the quarterback position, it's a natural leadership position. He's going to be forced to lead and to do it in a vocal way. And I think even Bijan talked about how he wasn't a vocal leader initially.
Yeah.
But you have to become that.
Yeah, I mean, that's your leadership position right there. And if you're going to be the face of the program and have all these NIL deals and people want you around, and I think that might have helped him too, because he have to go out there to speak to so many different people that it has to open you up. When you're having to make all these appearances, now you're opening up yourself a little bit more, where you could have been more reserved and not really talk to people. Well, now you're going out and meeting people, entertaining people. Now you're having to talk a little bit, so that can help them. A lot of these players do that as well.
So if we'll get into some of the other reports about Quinn Ewers, but I think one of the best reviews I've heard so far is his leadership and him embracing that leadership, because they're going to need it from him, no question. All right, what you got coming up in Hard Knock Life?
We got our man Kyle Yeomans from the Dallas Cowboys. He's a TV host and a reporter. He does pre- and post-game, and he does the Cowboys draft show. So he's going to talk about the Cowboys offseason and what to expect in the draft.
All right, faux shizzle. We'll talk about that when we come back. My man Haraj with a special guest coming up on Hard Knock Live right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9.
Welcome back to a 512 Thursday edition. That's right. We normally do new theme music, new music theme on Thursday, but because we're off tomorrow, that's right, folks. We are off tomorrow. We decided to go with the 512 Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Harge. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Harge. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers. And you can follow my man Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show. So hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. We're efforting my man Kyle Yeomans right now. He might be tied up for a second, but we're going to try to get him on. But while we're waiting on him, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Dallas Cowboys and the expectation of this draft. Rod, we've been talking about the opportunities and who may or may not be on the draft board for the Cowboys, what position should be the position of choice, we're still trying to figure that out. But to me, I know a lot of people are giving Michael Mayer a lot of love, and if you go back and you look at some of the numbers from his combine and his pro days, there's nothing that really jumped out to you, right? So you sit there and you say, is he going to be the move? And I don't believe that the Cowboys need to go get a first-round tight end again. We've seen how that worked out for the Cowboys for a very long time. Most of their talented Cowboys have been tight ends have been drafted later in the rounds, and you're always talking about the best value, right? So if this is a deep tight end draft, and I believe that this is one of the ones that they consider a very deep tight end draft. Why not go out and get somebody else? Go look at a different position. The tight end class is probably looked at. You got Michael Mayer, you got Dalton Kincaid, and you got Darnell Washington. But then there's more tight ends that a lot of people still don't know about. You look at what position might be the best one for the Cowboys to take. I still believe that you need to take either an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, somebody that's there that you feel can be a big piece to what you're looking for. I like Brian Breesy from Clemson. I don't think he's getting a lot of conversation, but he was somebody that I've seen play for a very, very long time at Clemson, and he's always had success. Another person that you can probably look at that you can say, that'll be a reach on him, but you think he's going to give you best effort is Siaki Ika from Baylor. Yeah. You always talk about everybody needs a plunger, right? They need that guy to clog up the hole. I think he may be one of those guys that you need to look at. Defensively, you can possibly go for a cornerback. If it falls back deep enough for you, there has been a chance where you can look at that. And we've all talked about the safety position all over the place, right?
Yep.
We talked about the Cowboys and how they've pretty much preserved a lot of their safeties and continue to teach them how to grow. But you can still go and look at another safety, whoever you think is high on that board. Ooh. You know a name that somebody hasn't – I haven't heard a lot of people talking about is Kelee Ringo.
Oh, yeah.
Kelee Ringo is a guy. Texas was in on him till the very end, and then he ended up going to Georgia. That's a guy that has flashed on top of flashed on top of flashed, and he's got good movement. He's a fast runner. He's a bigger cornerback, and he's
the
somebody.
Cowboys considering him if he drops.
Yes, if he's around
in the first round, drops.
If Bijan ain't there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put that caveat out there.
Yeah.
I would say draft Bijan if he's available at 26, but if he's not, and Kelee Ringo is there, and you have to make a decision, I'm going with that right there. You know he's played at a very high level. He's been at Georgia. You know the competition that they go through. He's been coached by Kirby Smart. You know Kirby Smart is a defensive guy, secondary guy, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
You sit there and you look at how he would fit into this Dan Quinn system. I think he's somebody that can definitely fit into the Dan Quinn system.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, though. I mean, I haven't heard anybody really, at least looking at the mocks, mock the Cowboys with a DB in the first round. But there's almost a consensus the Cowboys are going to draft a corner in the middle to early rounds. We just don't know where.
Which is fair.
They're going to see the value there, corner. But maybe it is. If Kelee Ringo drops to you, you got to consider
You got to consider that.
Consider one of the top corners in the draft.
Exactly, because there's so many different players that you can consider.
But tight end is right now, tight end and Bijan are the top projected picks for the Cowboys. Because Todd McShay's latest mock, he's got the Cowboys taking a tight end.
I know.
Matter of fact, Todd McShay's last two drafts.
I thought it was 3.
Yeah, you're right. Remember, he might be at 3. Last 3
Yeah.
drafts, he's got the Cowboys taking a tight end. Dane Brugler, I believe, also at the Cowboys. Take tight end. Remember one time, Dane Brugler, Todd McShay, and Mel Kiper all had the Cowboys taking a tight end. The same tight end, actually. Todd McShay taking Dalton Kincaid. Now Todd McShay has switched up to Michael Mayer, I believe, yes.
Yeah.
So,
and
I'm
not
with you. I
saying
don't like tight end in the first round.
I don't either.
It's too deep of a draft for tight end.
Unless he is that freak of a tight end.
And he's
There's no
not.
freaks
No, he ain't
at
no
the
freak.
tight end position.
No.
And we just had this conversation about, okay, Michael Mayer may be able to block a little bit better than some of these other guys, but he's not a guy that Dak is going to be looking for the entire time because he's a bigger tight end, which means he's slower than most of the tight ends that are now in this game. If you're going to draft people, you want them to be more athletic because the game has changed so much.
Bowers is a first round tight end.
Bowers is the first round tight end.
If he was coming out.
Like if he would have been eligible to come out, he would be the first tight end that
He
everybody's
would,
talking
no
about.
doubt.
And I do look at Dalton Kincaid as that type of guy. He can run around a little bit, but he didn't play at the end of the year because he had an injury. So you're going to look at a guy that's coming off of an injury and try to make him. The value on the board is one of the things that we got to continue to look at because if there's not a guy that just jumps off at the page right away where you can say, okay, this guy is going to come in and be a huge impact right away, the only position that I can see that happening is interior line, D-line, and the cornerback position. Or even safety. I'll look at the safety, but you got a lot of guys that are there.
You got 3 safeties. I doubt they draft a safety.
That'll be
high.
later.
They just
Yeah,
never,
that'll be later.
It'll be later in the draft. Yeah.
But I definitely am looking at you either going for that type of player at 26. Now, the other part of this, too, kind of makes me wonder if they would go wide receiver.
I agree. I wonder. I'm with you.
Because we've been talking for a very long time about the lack of playmakers. But the question is, have they given up on Jalen Tolbert already? Because you just drafted him high in the second round last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that was your guy. You were looking at him as possibly being a major part of what's going on. Well, is Michael Gallup going to come back, and what is Brandon Cooks going to give you?
Honestly, all this is determined by how Michael Gallup plays this year. But I think they're going to draft a receiver regardless.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to draft him that early. Now, if there's a run on other positions,
Correct.
and
somebody
then,
drops
yes,
to you.
and then the receiver drops, the Cowboys, I could see them making that move and going, well, hold up, we never thought this guy who is top 15 on our board all around as a player on our big board would drop to us at 26. We're taking him. And that's kind of the Bijan conversation as well. So Bijan trumps all this, I'm sure.
Correct.
You're
I'm 100% on that.
You don't give a damn who dropped.
If Bijan is the last one that stand there and drop, he's at the top of the list of anybody that's there.
I got you.
Because you got to go with your talent on the board. Now, here's the question that I have. If they're going to go wide receiver, and there's not a huge run on them early, and they kind of stagger themselves out, what if Quentin Johnston falls to that position?
Ooh.
At 26.
They're going to take him.
They have to, right?
Now, like I said, if Bijan's there, I think they'll take Bijan over him.
Excluding Bijan, because I expect Bijan to be gone. I don't expect Bijan to be waiting on.
Drops to them, what would they do? That's a great question.
Yes, because the other positions that we just talked about.
I'm going to say no, they won't do it.
Because they think they can get another guy in the
they
later
can
round.
Get a receiver in a
You tried
in a
that
later
already.
round. You did.
You tried that.
It was failed.
Get somebody.
We talked about it yesterday. You said you'd rather Cedric Wilson.
I
go
would.
get him.
I
Try to
would
get him
rather
on
go
a
get him
discount
back.
rate.
That's right.
And then don't even have to worry. You can draft the receiver, but you have to worry about them contributing right away.
Exactly. You can put him on the wide receiver pile back there with Jalen Tolbert.
I don't think they'll do it in the first round. But just because right now they got a lot of money tied up in
the
receiver,
wide receiver position, right?
And to draft a guy that high, you have to know that he's going to end up being your number one. You're going to pay CeeDee Lamb like a number one pretty soon. And whoever that guy is coming in, if you're going to draft the guy. Now, I said it could happen. I'd rather them go wide receiver rather than tight end. I'll say that right now.
Oh, for sure.
If you're going to go tight end there, I'd rather you go wide receiver than tight end. I don't rather you go either one of them, but I'd rather wide receiver than tight end.
Yes, because if that thought process and they're walking up there and they have tight end on there, your boy might lose it.
You don't get you don't need in terms of value. You don't need a
Yes.
tight end at that value that
No.
high. They're not a premium position.
No, especially if nobody else is taking one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have tight ends that you have just drafted, and you're going to continue to try to stop. And those guys played for you last year.
Yeah.
They played well for you.
And like I said, it's a deep tight end draft. I mean,
Yes.
I believe it's Pro Football Focus claims that tight end is arguably the strength position in the NFL 2023 draft. They said it's one of the deepest positions in the draft period.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't draft a tight end that high. I wouldn't.
Especially if he's not a game-breaking tight end.
Yeah. They're projecting 7 tight ends to be drafted by the end of day 2. 7.
That makes zero sense to me.
I'm with you, but it
I mean,
shows you that it's
I
a deep,
expect 7 to be
deep,
drafted on day 2. You know what I'm
For me,
saying?
the Cowboys can get
Yeah,
them one
they could get
later
one
on
later
in the
on.
draft.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, man.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you continue to look and say, all right, where is the value? I just brought up Quentin Johnston. If he falls down, you know who else might fall? Jordan Addison, because he didn't have a lot of speed on his pro day or the combine. So
Yep.
is that a guy that teams are going to look at and say, I don't know. But if I'm Jordan Addison, I'm walking in there with the Jerry Rice tape, because everybody thought Jerry Rice wasn't fast. He was football fast. And football fast is more important than track speed fast.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can outrun somebody and not get tackled, I'm cool with you being my spot.
I know, and the crazy thing is, I was doing research on wide receivers. I'm glad you brought that up. I was looking at the favorite routes or the most targeted routes for wide receivers. I know Jordan Addison is not known for, obviously his speed, but man, he had a lot of go routes and 9 routes, like deep routes.
Yeah, I
they
know.
threw to him.
Right.
So the film doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't track with the speed that he put out in terms of his 40-yard dash.
Right.
He can get behind guys.
And
he knows how to stack.
consistently.
He knows how to stack DBs. Yeah, I'm with you.
And here we go again, a Biletnikoff winner.
Yes, he was.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, so the Cowboys have done a great job this offseason providing quality personnel at a value price. And now we're looking at, okay, what are we doing next to enhance our team in 1 or 2 areas, right? 1 or 2 areas of need. You got to look at where each player's on each level, where their contract situation is too. Can I draft a guy that can come in and learn this year and be an impact the next year? I don't know. But if you're going to take somebody at the top of it, they have to be able to come in and play.
Yep.
They got to come in and provide for you right now.
That's why don't discount O-line either.
Right.
I know
That's
it
what
ain't
I'm saying.
sexy.
I know.
Cowboys fans don't like it, but the Cowboys, they like going O-line.
They do.
And they like to build their O-line with high-level talent. People didn't like the Tyler Smith pick. It was a brilliant pick.
Yep.
I remember when all of y'all was complaining about that Zach Martin pick early on. He was complaining about that.
I was definitely complaining about the Tyler Smith because
The
I wanted
Travis
Tyler
Frederick pick.
Linderbaum. I
People were
wanted
upset about
yeah.
the Travis Frederick pick. Cowboys fans didn't
Yep.
like, and I was like, man, just let it play out.
Yep.
Ends up being one. Well, I know he retired early, but it was one of the best picks they
Yep.
made in recent years.
But he didn't retire because of football. He retired because of some health issues.
Yeah, you're right.
So
yes, I'm just saying, like, if they go O-line, just be patient.
Yep.
I remember Hodge was upset last year.
Man.
Turns out that Tyler Smith pick was brilliant.
I was like, that dude is really good.
He was really good.
He was really
and
impactful
they put him
this
at
year.
tackle, and he was really good. Put him at
Yep.
guard, he was really
Yep.
good. So
And he was aggressive.
and he played right away, like you
Yep,
said.
he played
You needed him
right away.
and you needed him.
I did.
I think about it, when Tyron Smith went out, most Cowboys fans thought the season was over.
And
When him and Dak went out early, they were
Yes.
like, all right, season over. But started worrying about the
it's hard
the
to be a
draft pick.
Cowboys fan.
And then the season was saved by essentially
I love being a
being
Cowboys
able to
fan.
move Tyler Smith around, and the
Yeah.
backup quarterback
Yep.
that you guys didn't think you
I
had.
was talking about for a long time that
then
too.
then Cooper Rush, baby.
Put some respect on his name. I gotta put some respect on his name.
Took us like 2 months to stop saying Cooper Cup instead of Cooper Rush. But by the time we got to figure it out,
He was already out of there.
He was already out. Time to get back to Dak at that point. I'm with you. I think the Cowboys, like I said, they've done a brilliant job this offseason, one of the best offseasons they've had.
Yes.
Of putting themselves in a position where they don't have to go into the draft desperate to fill a need.
Yeah.
And I would say being desperate, going to the draft is like going to the grocery store hungry. It's a bad decision. You're going to spend way too much money buying stuff you don't need and that you don't want. And that's the same thing with the Cowboys. They went into this draft and they didn't address, the cornerback position. They didn't address wide receiver or D-line or O-line or running back. They addressed all those positions. And now they can truly go into the draft saying, all right, best talent that drops to us.
Yes.
We got a big board. Best talent that drops to us, we can pick it.
Start marking it off.
Yep.
Each time they get picked.
And the Cowboys love taking best talent available or best player at that position.
That's who they are.
That is
best talent available.
Yeah, and it's worked out really well for them.
No doubt.
Kicker. The Cowboys do have to figure out kicker, don't they?
They'll be all right.
They'll figure that out.
They'll
later.
be all right.
Go get Dicker the kicker. Has he signed?
I don't know yet.
He was really
He's supposed to
consistent
be
last
on
year.
with us too. Him and Kyle are probably together.
Get Dicker the kicker, man. What they work out? All right, we come back. We got off the record on the other side. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers, he is shopping for a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Hippie item. We'll come back and discuss it right here on Bottom Line. Wonderful down the horn.
It's a great day to be alive, man. You know why? Because it's a great day to have Allstat. Make Allstat your beer of choice. Allstat beer is brewed in Fredericksburg, Texas, right in the heart of the Texas Hill Country. It's the weekend. Well, I know most of y'all don't understand. We off tomorrow, so it's the weekend, and you might be off too, so enjoy some weekend beverages. Better yet, go out to the Allstat Brewery right there in Fredericksburg. It is. They also have amazing fine dining restaurant and a tap room where you can try multiple flavors. You could plan a tour today and see it for yourself. Great beer, great food, and of course, enjoy it with some great friends. Go to allstatbeer.com and check out where you can pick some up or where you can have some on your way home and meet some friends. Allstat beer is made with 100% German ingredients, German hops, malts, and yeast, and of course, natural Hill Country water. Make Allstat your beer of choice. Allstat beer, no impurities, no regrets.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for another edition of Off the Record. Comes from the New York Post. According to the New York Post, Aaron Rodgers has been checking out crystal shops in Los Angeles this week as the trade negotiations between the Jets and the Packers still remain pretty much at a crawl. The 39-year-old quarterback, who previously said he intends to play for the Jets in 2023, was seen holding a small bag as he left the Topanga Rocks Crystal Shop in L.A., which sells crystals, jewelry, stone goods, and other design elements from around the world.
Did you say Topanga?
It says, maybe I mispronounced it.
From
It's
Boy Meets World?
Topanga.
That's it?
That's Topanga?
Topanga. Boy Meets World.
That's not her shop, is it?
It might be.
It might be. It is Hollywood. I don't know. That is pretty wild. But they just kind of, I don't know. It just confirms that he's still in this kind of hippie phase.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know what? To hell with the phase. That this is kind of who he is.
He's all in.
He's very holistic.
Yeah.
Very natural. Like, I wouldn't doubt at one point in his life, if he already doesn't have one, that he has a shaman.
He might.
He definitely consults with a shaman, or he will be consulting with a shaman very soon.
Yeah.
Most of us do not have shamans in our life. Aaron Rodgers definitely has a shaman in his life.
He also speaks with Permanent Master's voice.
He does. That is true. That is very monotone. So it's a great point.
Very.
On Pat McAfee, I had never thought about that, but you're right. Yeah, you're
Think
right.
he's just in the huddle. So we're going to go a little bit out to the right there. Just flare out to the right, and I'll throw the ball right your way, and we'll go down and score a touchdown.
RELAX. Relax.
Relax.
Oh, that's good.
outstanding, Patrick.
It is. I actually didn't think about that, but you're right. He definitely has that master's voice, that tone all the time. And maybe that's part of his, holistic journey, that he's all peace and love. He's a hippie now. And, hippies just want to, kind of keep it all copacetic, man. Make sure everybody's getting along. Remember, he's also going to speak.
Yes. At that convention.
Yes, he is going to speak at a convention, and I believe it's a convention about like psychedelics and their effect, the positive effect that psychedelics can have in your life and on your life. And he's going to be speaking. I believe it's in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But I could be I could be off about that. I don't know exactly what the psychedelics convention is, but it is apparently it's like the biggest psychedelics convention in the Western United States or something like that. I wouldn't know, but
I mean,
they got Aaron Rodgers.
I was going to say, rumor has it.
It's definitely gonna be a hot ticket. It's gonna be sold out.
Rumor has it.
Yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers. Right. You know what I mean? Talking about his ayahuasca journey and stuff like that.
I mean, for those that are that deeply indulged in it, you can definitely understand and learn something from it, because he obviously has a lot on his mind.
And he had the darkness retreat.
Yeah.
Too. Don't forget about the darkness retreat. But I don't think he combined the psychedelics and the darkness retreat, because that would
have really scared you.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah. That's take you on it's a bad trip.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a bad trip.
Yeah, no windows.
No windows.
Yeah, I'll be like, what?
You're getting fed through some hole or something like that. So yes, Aaron Rodgers once again. He's just. And we still don't know what's going on with the Jets and the Packers and the trade, but we do have an update on a possible theory as it relates to that story. Another team could potentially come up in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes, or at least compete in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. We'll get to that.
And they got capital for it.
Well, the theory actually works out pretty well. I thought
that's
it was,
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they got capital for it.
I thought it was I was like, man, that's no way they can work out. Actually, it can work.
Yes, it can.
And I think Aaron Rodgers will be more than open to it.
Yeah.
And it would fit his hippie profile that he's got working on right now. Matter of fact, it would fit his hippie profile way better than the New York state of mind would. All right, we'll come back. We'll get that a little bit later on in the show in the 5 o'clock. We come back. We'll get into NFL news, notes, and nuggets. Lots of mock drafts. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Yes, usually it would be a new theme Thursday, but the new theme for this Thursday actually is 512 Friday because it's actually Friday for us, our last show of the week. And 512 Friday, my man Patrick plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you can catch live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Slurp the World, and they are playing Saturday at Swan Dive.
You know what? I'm going to let it go. Yeah.
Say what?
Exactly.
Hey, man, there's a young band.
Wow.
Okay.
They got young ideas.
Okay. Slurp the World?
Slurp the World.
All right.
I don't know how we follow
Respect
that
it.
up, but I do want to give a special shout out to our All-Stat Brackets Challenge winner.
Shout out.
The 2023 All-Stat Brackets Challenge winner. Congratulations to Mas Tecante, Jason W. of
Shout
Wimberley. He won the bracket. He had a 2-point division. He was between first and second, and he was the one who came down with the winner. So shout out to Mas Tecante, Jason W. from Wimberley on the All-Stat Bracket Challenge. He is the winner.
There you go. Congratulations. No question about it. That's a really, really cool prize. And thanks to the good folks over at All-Star, too.
No doubt.
All right, let's get to some of these NFL news notes and nuggets. You can be a part of the show. You're the most important part of the show. 512-337-3776. That's the number to the Specs text line. Also, hit us up via Twitter. My man Harge at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis, the real MVP at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. And I'm at Rod Babers. We'll get you a Masters update toward the back end of this segment. Rod's round the day, we're talking Cowboys and the NFL draft since we're getting closer to the NFL draft. The Cowboys visitor list usually can be very telling in terms of foreshadowing what the Cowboys are going to do in the upcoming NFL draft. So I want to talk about that a little bit and see if we can gather and siphon some clues and hints as to what the Cowboys might do in the NFL draft based on who they've visited with, who they've worked out, what pro days they've gone to, and different prospects they've brought in. So we'll talk about that coming up in Rod's Rant of the Day. And before that, we'll give you a Masters update coming here toward the end of this segment. But I want to get into some of these mock drafts because there are a couple that they're obviously I'm a mock slut. I love mocks, and obviously mocks, depending on how plugged in the analyst is and how plugged in the draft Nick is, that can really be a great indicator as to how accurate that mock is. But none of the mocks are necessarily that accurate. If you got like a 30-40% hit rate in your mocks, then hell man, you're killing it at that point. All right, you'd be like, it's like hitting 300 in baseball, pretty much. Yeah. All right, you'd be a Hall of Famer. So I understand that, but some of these guys, and Daniel Jeremiah is one of them, Lance Zierlein is another one. I think they're pretty plugged in. And Lance Zierlein, actually, he works out of H-Town, so he's got a lot of Houston connections. So when it comes to what Houston is going to do in the draft, he has been one of the most accurate mockers, draft prognosticators in recent years. And I actually follow Lance Zierlein. He does a really good job. Does sports radio down there in Houston. But he's really, really plugged in, and he's been pretty accurate as anybody when it comes to Houston's selection over the years. And he recently, via the Twitterverse, got some Texans fans worked up. And Patrick's brought this up too. Patrick's brought up this theory multiple times, and I hate this theory. But now it's gaining some momentum, and I hope that it's just because it's the silly season, and we're just trying to find stuff to talk about, and it's not actually something that has legs and holds water. But I'll give Patrick credit; he brought it up weeks ago, and now Lance Zierlein and Peter King, by the way, too, brought this up as well. Lance Zierlein saying that someone asked him, "Hey, what's an opinion of yours that makes people go, oh, okay, that's crazy. I could see that." He was being asked on Twitter. He said, quote, "The Texans could pass on a quarterback at number 2 if Bryce Young isn't there." Now, based on Peter King's latest Football Morning in America column, he is stating that there is some friction within the organization of the Panthers right now because most of the organization, owner, quarterback, coach, they like Bryce Young. And that Frank Reich, the head coach, he prefers a taller quarterback. He's never really coached a quarterback, shorter than 6'4". He says it's not an issue, but Peter King says he's got sources that say Frank Reich wants a taller quarterback. Hey, go look at his history. I know his mouth may say one thing, but man, your history says another. And same thing with me. You probably look at my history of ex-girlfriends and go, Rod B, I think you like big booty brunettes. Maybe I do. Doesn't mean I won't give a blonde a chance, but hey, it is what it is. Go look at the history. All right, that's Frank Reich. He likes taller quarterbacks, so he'll say, I'll consider a shorter quarterback, but I'm looking at your history, man. Big booty brunettes, bro. I know what you like. All right, so that's happening with the Carolina Panthers in the number 1 overall pick, and Peter King is saying that they may end up picking Bryce Young, that he may end up being the guy. And he also pointed out in that very same column, actually I think it was the next item in his column, right after he starts talking about the Panthers, he says that Nick Caserio is very conservative, and then goes to the Patrick theory that he's so conservative that he may decide that Will Anderson is more of a sure thing at number 2 in the draft. Draft him because DeMeco Ryans' defensive coach may want to start building this defense, and then drafting a quarterback either next year when you do have multiple first-round picks next year and you still have a lot of draft capital, or drafting a quarterback later in the first round. And that's what Peter King mentioned, and that brings us to the latest mock draft from one Lance Zierlein, who is plugged in. And in his mock draft, gentlemen, number 2 overall pick, Texans, he's got him taking Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech edge rusher. Talk about a surprise.
Come on, man.
And then he has the Texans trading back up into the first round to get their quarterback Will Levis in a trade with the Las Vegas Raiders at number 7. And there are multiple reports that they have interviewed and they like Will Levis.
Come on, man.
Okay, Harge, how disastrous would this be, in your opinion, if the Texans decide to take this route that Lance Zierlein is foreshadowing in his latest mock draft? What are you, Jack Easterby?
Exactly. I'm playing right into my hands. That would be an absolute joke. That would be something as a Houston Texans fan. I've told you about the meeting that they had at the golf course where they were saying, we are on the way. We are coming. Here is where we are with this season. Thank y'all for toughing it out with us. We are on the rise. This will set y'all back one more time if you pass on either of these quarterbacks, either one of them. And you're going to say you're not going to, if you get an opportunity to take Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud and you're going to pass on that opportunity, you are setting yourself up for failure again. The biggest thing for me is what we talked about before. You're bringing in a tight end. You're bringing in different receivers. You just signed your offensive tackle again to a guaranteed contract because you need him to protect your new prized possession, your quarterback. And you're going to tell me we're going to ride with Davis Mills and Levis. Come on, man. Failure. That is a failure. These are the 2 best quarterbacks that you can have in this draft, and they are sitting there at 1 and 2. Let's back it up even further. You should have fired Lovey so we didn't have to deal with this in the first place.
Ding, 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 ding.
You should have let them have an interim coach throughout the rest of the season and got rid of Lovey 2 weeks before the season was over.
Shouldn't even come that close.
It should have never been put down to this. And then the fact that you should have came down on the field and called timeout if Lovey was getting ready to go for 2. Because if you tie, you get a better chance of doing this.
No, it was a complete wholesale failure.
Exactly.
By the organization.
And now you're going to fail even more.
Yeah, if they do that.
By not giving the people what they want.
This would be a cowardice move by Nick Caserio if he decided to pass on those 2 quarterbacks to go that route.
So first off, I'm hoping this is all part of the smoke screen.
Yeah.
Silly season where they're like,
season.
hey, man, let's send out some different reports and send out some different things. Hey, man, we're real big on Will Levis. Hey, we're really big on to try and throw people off, to maybe see if someone wants to give them 2 or 3 first to move up because they go, oh, wait, if they're not going to take C.J. Stroud at 2, we really want C.J. Stroud. So we'll give them 4 picks to move up, and we'll get some more picks because we don't really like either one of these quarterbacks. So we'll wait another year, but we'll get even more first so we know we can get the first next year.
Mm-hmm.
So that if you're trying to do that, I'm fine with it. The thing with all this was you're still going to take a first. You want to trade back up in this draft. So you take an edge rusher who you could get at 5 or 6, and then you're going to trade back up to get a quarterback that nobody wants. Like, that's the thing. You can't not take one of those 2 quarterbacks and then still draft a first-round quarterback.
That's a good point because Levis might be there waiting for you at 12.
Yeah.
Because, if you play it right. I'm with. I don't.
The Levis part is what throws me off because I'm like, no, you said you didn't want a quarterback. I'm fine with you waiting another year if that's really what you want to do and you really think that Caleb Williams is the guy and you're willing to mortgage your future to get Caleb Williams next year.
Again.
Well, no, but you're willing to give up 5 first-rounders or whatever it's going to take to get Caleb Williams and get that number 1 first overall pick next year. If that's your guy and that's the way you're looking at it, fine. But you can't then also use one of those picks to draft Will Levis, then trade that 12 back into 2024 so you have another pick to go get your guy next year.
Yeah.
So if that's your plan, fine. But don't leverage your future by taking 2 guys that aren't the guy.
Yeah, that's a great point. This mock almost has a little cognitive dissonance in it where if you're going to pass upon the quarterback with the top picks, but that's a different strategy than the one that's being applied with the second first-round pick here, which is, I'm going to go get Will Levis, the 4th best quarterback in this draft potentially. It's like, it doesn't make sense. Go get the best quarterback in the draft, which you have a chance to do, unless, like I said, maybe their scouts do have Caleb Williams or Drake May as, that much better than all these quarterback prospects, but there's still no guarantee. You screwed up this tankathon.
Yeah.
How you going to guarantee you're going to get that tankathon right?
In the words of my partner, Rob Babers, I don't give a damn.
Hey, you know how I can help you screw up that tankathon? You start that tankathon, you draft Levis, you draft if you make this draft, you're trying to tank again.
Well, yeah, if you do this, you are, because Will Levis, listen, there's no guarantee with any quarterback, but I think of all the quarterbacks, Will Levis and Anthony Richardson are the biggest. They kind of bust potential with those guys at quarterback.
Yeah.
Seems to be more of a hit potential with C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. So this will be a coward's move for me. I would probably be out on Nick Caserio if he pulled a move like this.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm not out if he goes with your theory, Patrick, of just saying, all right, you know what? Quarterback is for next year's draft for us. This year, we're just still building. I get it, building blocks. But if he pulls a move like this and passes up on the top quarterbacks to get a defensive prospect and then get a quarterback late in the draft, I would assume that even though I'm a Nick Caserio fan, that he's in over his head. That is, he's a little in over his head.
No, he's trying to play mind games. He's trying to play checkers while everybody else is playing chess.
And
at least
the smartest guy in the
they
room.
want to think that.
They
want to think that.
I'm saying,
in the midst of meathead.
I'm saying Nick Caserio is playing checkers. He is not the one playing chess.
No, I agree with you. But he thinks it's chess. It's like,
he's like, oh man.
So Lance Zierlein is pretty plugged in. Here's Lance Zierlein's picks for the Cowboys and for Bijan. Quick, let me give you Bijan first because he's got Bijan going before the Cowboys actually end up picking here. He's got Bijan Robinson at 23 to the Buffalo Bills, them trading with the Minnesota Vikings. Which is an option that we've all brought up, that somebody's going to trade up. I've said somebody's going to trade to get Bijan. Bijan is not going to get picked, in my opinion, by a team that is standing pat at whatever pick they have. I think it'll be a team trading down to get Bijan or trading up to get Bijan. He's got the Bills trading up to get him. He's got the Cowboys. Goes back to your Hard Knock life. Quentin Johnston.
There it is.
At number 26. He's got Quentin Johnston falling to the Cowboys. Cowboys taking the wide receiver from TCU.
Yep.
So, that's definitely going to be in play if Bijan's off. And this is exactly what you brought up in Hard Knock Life. If Bijan's off the board and then a talent like him drops in the draft, which some people are projecting as the best wide receiver in the draft, why not take him?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that could happen too. I'm not opposed to that actually. If the draft ends up falling that way, I doubt it does.
I was going to say just in case it falls into the right direction, right?
And that's why I love the Cowboys strategy. They can go into this draft whichever way it falls. They can play it.
Yeah.
They can. What's the term in golf? Play it how it lays, whatever it is.
Yep. Play it where it lays.
They play
it where it
lies.
lies.
The Cowboys can play it where it lies. They really can. They can do that in terms of how the draft ends up working out for them. Okay, Darren Jeremiah. Let's get to his mock draft here because he came out with his latest mock draft, and his latest mock draft is a little bit more sensible, in my opinion. I like this one a little bit more. He's plugged in as well. He's got Bryce Young going number 1 overall, though, to Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So that continues. I mean, there are a lot of people that have, that happening. He's got the Texans taking C.J. Stroud with that number 2 overall pick. And I said there are reports now that the Texans are also kind of in love. Everybody's in love with Bryce Young. That's the reports, that the Panthers, most of them are in love with Bryce Young, and the reports are that the Texans also prefer Bryce Young, but there have been most reports they prefer C.J. Stroud as well, and reports that they like Will Levis too.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, it's a silly season, so stuff is all over the place. But getting back to Darren Jeremiah, he's got C.J. Stroud going to the Texans, number 2 overall. Then got Will Anderson actually going number 3 to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson going to the Colts. At number 4 with that 4. So he's got him as the 3rd quarterback being taken off the board. With the with the Texans' 2nd first-round pick, he's got him taking Myles Murphy, Clemson defensive end, which I'm not opposed to that, actually.
Clemson's got some players.
They got some. I mean,
they got some players.
But what it would show you is that they got DeMeco Ryans, who is a defensive head coach, and they just want to They want to build that defense.
Right.
They want to stockpile it. Right. You got Jalen Petrie, who is one of the best young safeties in the NFL. They hope Derek Stingley's going to be that guy. But man, Patrick always reminds me that they passed up on Sauce for that.
Yeah. Hey, man, wait. Don't give up. If he didn't deal with injury, he would have been in that conversation. Don't give up
not
on
that
Steve.
conversation. He's going to be a good. He's going to be a good DB.
You talking about an All-Pro as a rookie?
He would have been in there. He would have been in
was
there.
the last one to do that.
He'd have been in there.
You think so?
Absolutely.
He's just trying to make us feel good.
I'm just letting y'all know that was a hell of a pick. I would have loved for him to fall to the Cowboys.
Well, I appreciate that, Harsh,
Yeah.
but watching Sauce out there, it hurts me. I feel like Fred Sanford.
I'm coming,
Elizabeth. I'm coming. I'm sorry, feels bad. But Bijan Robinson, they got Bijan going 14 to the Patriots.
Yeah.
I don't want Bijan going to Bill Belichick and the Patriots. I'm sorry.
I would have to agree with you
I don't
100%
want it,
now
man.
that I think about it.
Think about
I
what's
am
going on
not a
up there
fan
now.
of that. You're right.
You got Mac Jones calling.
Who?
Well, I get.
You got to get Bill O'Brien.
You got Bill O'Brien back. That's true.
Okay, does it make it any better?
It's better than Matt Patricia.
It's better than Matt Patricia, but it's still a person that I do not like.
Well, it's because you.
It's better than Matt Patricia.
This is part of why. I would say that Patrick does have some rather sore feelings about Bill O'Brien, because part of the reason he renounced his fandom, not all the reasons, but part of it was Bill O'Brien. Would you admit
Yes.
that?
Oh,
Full disclosure?
I don't want to admit. I will say that. That is the reason.
So he's not really willing to give Bill O'Brien another
will say
shot
that.
at redemption, and I understand that totally. I get it. But I think Bill O'Brien's going to be so Mac Jones. Nobody's happier about Bill O'Brien being the OC than Mac Jones.
Oh, apparently he was calling Alabama last year anyway.
Exactly. That's why they got a good relationship.
That's right. He's like, man, come on, bro. But you know what? That's why I'll give Belichick some credit. Essentially, Belichick didn't publicly admit that he was wrong, but that hire, with this story out now, essentially is him admitting, yeah, I screwed that up. Man, I really screwed that up.
Yeah.
We talked about that yesterday. A lot on the line for Bill Belichick this season. Get to the Cowboys in the Daniel Jeremiah mock draft. All right, Harge. Daniel Jeremiah's got the Cowboys taking Maisie Smith, D tackle out of Michigan.
Huh?
Yeah. Now, he has generated a lot of buzz, but it is a position of need, I think. But, not need. I take that back. It is a position that they have to address at one point because they have a lot of
do that
bodies
in the second
there.
and third round, man.
They got a mercenary deal with Jonathan Hankins.
Mm-hmm.
I like Odigizua a lot, but he's
Yeah.
more of a pass rush specialist more so than a run stopper. They need somebody that can be both, and I guess they would assume this guy's both. I'm with you. I don't like that pick.
I don't either.
I think
Not even close.
But Bijan's off the table in this draft, and a lot of the players, like the receivers, are off. Jordan Addison's off the board here. Quentin Johnson's off the board here. So maybe that was the thought process.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think Quentin Johnson is off the board in this one, actually. I think he may go after. Yeah, so I don't know. I think the Cowboys, he goes right after them, actually.
I'm
to
looking
the Bills at 27.
I'm looking
So
at everybody
that would
else's
upset
picks. Yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm not looking at no Maisie. What, Smith, you said?
Maisie, it's Smith from Michigan.
Yeah, exactly.
He's actually a freakish athlete, but I'm with you. In terms of value, I think the Cowboys can find more of an impact value there. And you can find D tackles a little bit later on in this draft. I know it sounds crazy. Hell, Texas got 2 of them that'll be available in like the 4th and 5th round.
Call me Homer. I would much rather you go after somebody else.
Go
there.
get Ojimo.
Yes.
I mean, Ojimo can play inside and outside
And
for
he
you.
and he was also headed to. He's one of those 30.
Dude,
going to the interview.
Poona Ford's available as a free agent. I'm not joking. I think he is. I believe you can. I know you can trade for him. But I think he's available, though.
Oh, he's one of them.
I think he's a free agent.
I was going to say, was he on that exclusive franchise tag where you got to give up 2 first?
No, I think Poona is available, actually. But they have a Poona type, which is Jonathan Hankins. So I guess that's what they're doing. But either way,
we'll move that around.
I don't like the Maisie Smith pick.
No.
Nothing personal against the young man. I'm not really a fan of that move.
Can
we hear the Cam Newton thing really quickly? And then we'll get to
yes.
Roger.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
This is great.
This is outstanding.
Ready, Patrick, please, really quickly? Okay, so Cam Newton was on his podcast, whatever it is, and he addressed the workout that he participated in at Auburn when he was throwing for the receivers, and while throwing for the receivers, he was bragging that, hey, man, I'm basically better than I'm not at the point now where my career is done, and I'm better than one of them 32 quarterbacks. All right, one of them. He just pointed out I'm better than one of them. Well, here he actually showed a little humility in his latest video and wanted to clarify those comments. Here is Cam Newton.
In regards to my future in the NFL, and I wanted to set the record straight by saying, this is how I feel. There ain't 32 guys that's better than me, but I also know that I could also be a backup, and I'm willing to be a backup. Players that I will back up. Number one, I'll back up Deshaun Watson. It goes without saying, me and Deshaun Watson's relationship, he was on my 707 All-Star team. I've grown to admire the person, the athlete that he is, going through a lot of turmoil, but I believe that's behind him. My number 2 person will be wherever Lamar Jackson decides to go. Number 3 will be Justin Fields, another C1N product. Number 4 will be Tua Tagovailoa. Number 5 will be Malik Willis, another C1N All-Star representative. And I would say there's 3 rookie quarterbacks that I would love or enjoy to groom. Any of these rookie quarterbacks, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson. Any one of those guys, I would be happy to back those guys up. Who we got? Number 7, Jalen Hurts. Number 8 would be Aaron Rodgers. Number 9 would be Josh Allen. And number 10 will be Sam Howell, another C1N alumni. But when you think about the list, it's really to the point. Now, some of those guys may already have penciled in backups that the franchise is probably okay with, and that's fine. I'm just voicing my opinion, and I'm just getting the narrative out.
How many C1N alumni on this list?
If you play for Cam Newton, I got you. I'll be your backup.
My 2 favorite parts of this whole clip: the music in the background.
Oh, that was perfect.
I love the music in the background. Like, who chose this music? And when he says, "There are some rookies I would love to groom."
Yes.
Like,
yeah, I will groom them. Like what?
Like nobody wants you grooming their quarterbacks.
No,
Cam.
not at all.
Nobody wants that. What do you think, though? You know what I love about this, though? We had discussion, and I was wrong because I said he'd be unwilling to be a backup in the league. He wants to be a starter.
He was listening.
And I think he wants to be a starter.
He was listening.
But he's saying, no, I still want to play.
Yes.
And if I want to play, I got to be willing to be a backup. I think he actually would be a decent backup for certain teams, depending on the right situation.
It's got to be the right situation. It's got to be somebody. It's kind of like we talked about coaching at Texas. You got to be secure at who you are. And not have to worry about anything else around you because you know you're going to get the smoke regardless.
Because he's going to kind of bring it. He's not doing it on purpose.
No.
But this is his
he's
personality.
Too big of,
he's charismatic.
Yeah.
He can't help
he's
himself.
too big of a personality.
I want to see him take the Pat McAfee route. I do think he could do that kind of stuff.
He's got the connections. Couldn't agree more with you.
He's good looking. He's charismatic. He dresses that very provocatively. So you'd always be like, what the? And I think he's funny.
But I was trying to figure out. I mean, have you seen?
Maybe he's not trying to be funny, but he's funny.
My man's hair was coming out the top of the hat.
Like even the outfits, I'm like, is he trying to be funny?
No,
because he's ironically funny, but it's hilarious.
What do you call it, fashionista?
Yeah, I mean, I think he should take the Pat McAfee route, dude. You could do that, Cam, and you would get paid. But I think he still wants to play. But he would get paid a lot of money, and I think
stop
he's got
getting hit, man. Just get the money.
Get the money. Pat McAfee sound like a $20-some million deal
to
bring on his friends and talk ball.
And if you want to get hit, go join the WWE like Pat McAfee too. Be the guest at
Amen,
at WrestleMania.
That's a brilliant point. If you really want that smoke, go. WWE will let you have it.
They will let you be a part of it.
So I'm saying the Pat McAfee formula.
Snoop Dogg was in there.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
One of the Paul brothers is now
He's
with the WWE too.
He's a pro.
Yeah, right?
He's a pro
I'm
now.
saying, man, take the Pat McAfee route, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Don't worry about grooming quarterbacks. Nobody wants you grooming their quarterbacks.
For sure. You are
I
not
want you
a
to entertain
groomer.
me, Cam, because you're entertaining, brother.
You are not a groomer.
You're not a groomer. You're
No.
an entertainer.
Yes,
So
exactly.
All right, we'll come back. We'll talk about the Dallas Cowboys. What can the Cowboys pre-draft visits and workouts, pro day visits, what do they tell us about what they are trying to do or what they are going to do in the NFL draft? We'll talk about that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 Home. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We all know the car market these days can be a labyrinth. It can be really confusing and frustrating. You need someone help you navigate the car market and someone that has your best interest in mind and someone that wants to make sure they give you the best bang for your buck. Well, that's Apple Leasing. That's why they've been doing business here in Austin for almost 40 years because they've been doing it the right way. Apple Leasing will save you time and money because they know how valuable both are to all of us. And Apple Leasing has the ability to put you in any make or model vehicle that you want. The professionals over at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. All it takes is one phone call or one click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. See, Apple Leasing's simple interest, easy lease allows you to have a lot more flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. Inflation is through the roof. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, or buy anything for that matter. So leasing actually makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. So what are you waiting for? Call Apple Leasing today, 512-346-9977, and let them see how much money they can save you. They get all the same discounts, all the same incentives that the dealers do, except my friends at Apple Leasing, they pass those savings right on to you, the customer. So give them a call, 512-346-9977, or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie, Raj Rant of the Day. I want to get into a little Cowboys discussion here. So I was looking at the Cowboys list of prospects that they've interviewed at either the Combine, worked out privately, pro day visits, visits either remotely or virtually, any type of personal visit that the Cowboys had or interaction they had with a prospect to log it, and there have been 89 so far prior to the NFL draft. And I'm sure there'll be a few more, so it'll probably end up close to 100 total. And I wanted to look at individual positions and what positions have they looked at the most out of these 89 prospects that they have either worked out, interviewed, obviously had a pro day visit with, or visited with them, virtually or remotely, that kind of thing. And the position that has garnered the most interest from the Cowboys based on their prospect list are wide receiver. 14 wide receiver. Basically, you look at it, I think they're getting close to, and it depends on what list you're looking at, because these are mostly reports, so the Cowboys are not confirming this necessarily. But you go look at it right now, and the Cowboys are at 11 wide receivers. The count that I have, that they have either interviewed with or visited with in some way, form, or fashion, which says that they are going to – I take that back. That was the cornerbacks. 15 out of the 89 prospects are wide receivers. Cornerbacks is 11 out of 89. So take it back. So 15, that's the most of any other position. And even looking at like O-line, you have to kind of break it down individually, guard and tackle. So even O-line, which I think they've brought in 20 O-line period. But if you break it down, center, guard, and tackle, not as many. So if you're just looking at individual position, it is wide receiver they're most focused on. 15 out of the 89 prospects they visited with were wide receivers. Now, here's something interesting, because there's a trend with the Cowboys. And Cowboys have a lot of observational kind of trends when it comes to their draft. They have drafted 14 wide receivers in the last 15 years. Only if you look at the wide receivers who are under 6'1" and under 195 pounds, only 4 of those 14 receivers that they drafted in the last 15 years were under 6'1" and under 195 pounds. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to eliminate some of these prospects based on the trends and kind of based on the tendencies, the draft tendencies of the Dallas Cowboys, what they prefer, the measurables that they like. And they do like bigger wide receivers. They've only drafted 2 of those 14 wide receivers who were under 6 foot and under 190 pounds. So they like size. Now, here's the crazy thing, though. I think they're starting to change that philosophy just a little bit. The wide receivers that I found that they were under those measurables that had become the baseline for the Cowboys at wide receiver. Dwayne Harris, Ryan Switzer, Danny Cole, Emmanuel Johnson, all late round picks, 6th, 4th, 5th, 7th. So if they're going to take a chance on a wide receiver like that, it'll be later in the draft. They draft them higher up in the draft or earlier in the draft. That usually means they're going to be a bigger wide receiver. Remember, we had this at Texas, right? Sometimes it's about preferences, what you prefer, right? Are you a boobs man or are you a butt man? Right? It's all about what you prefer. I like both of them. Both of them are nice, but I'm probably a butt man when it's all said and done. And Tom Herman liked bigger wide receivers, right? Like big body wide receivers that could go win 50-50 balls. And that's what Texas had, a lot of those guys when Sark came in. And hell, you had your Colin Johnsons with Tom Herman, your Lou Jordan Humphreys with Tom Herman. Hell, Troy Murray was a Tom Herman guy. Malcolm Epps a Tom Herman guy. He wanted big body wide receivers, guys who could go win 50-50 balls. But what does Sark prefer? Speed. He wants small, speedy guys. Hell, sometimes they don't even consider undersized guys, but he wants guys that can flat out run. What are you talking about? X-Man or Brennan Thompson? Size doesn't matter as much as speed to Steve Sarkisian. So everybody's got different preference based on the offensive system they want to run. And I think the Cowboys may be going through a similar transition. I do believe that Kellen Moore, who was a Jason Garrett guy, essentially making you a Bill Parcells guy for the most part, right? They have a different style of wide receivers that they like. And I think they wanted bigger wide receivers, bigger physical wide receivers, right? Because the kind of the Bill Parcells front was about power and brute force. But Mike McCarthy is a West Coast guy, right? West Coast offenses are about precision, intellectual precision and accuracy, and a supercharger with what? Speed. Sark is about speed because he's a West Coast guy. It's one of those West Coast ties that binds all West Coast offenses, right? That's why Andy Reid, he wanted speed with Tyreek Hill. They want speed. Mike McDaniels, he wants speed with his West Coast version of the offense. So it's just another kind of offshoot of those West Coast offenses. I think Mike McCarthy, he wants speedier wide receivers, faster guys. Now, it doesn't mean he doesn't like size, but I think in this draft you may see them go after a wide receiver uncharacteristically a little smaller, but they're faster wide receivers. I think Mike McCarthy may covet speed, even with Brandon Cooks. That just shows you right there, right? Brandon Cooks is known for what? Speed. Being able to take the top off of a defense. That's what he wants to focus on. So don't be surprised if guys like Zay Flowers, who is 5'10", 185, and he's a top 20 prospect for the most part. 1,000-yard receiver, 12 touchdowns. He visited with the Cowboys. Josh Downs, 5'10", 175. That's a guy, 15 yards per reception, over 1,000 yards, 94 receptions, 12 touchdowns in college. He's very productive. Also 5'10", 175, a little under what the Cowboys' baseline is for those positions. Tank Dell, another big-time wide receiver, but he's 5'10", 165. Led the nation in receiving yards with over 1,398 yards and 17 receiving touchdowns. Even the Cavante Turpin thing, right? They got him. He's a speed guy. I think that's one of Mike McCarthy's, one of his, as a coach, I do that as one of his priorities. He's trying to make this a faster roster, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Don't be surprised if you see that happen in the draft. He wants to go after a yak daddy, a daddy yak, whatever you want to call it. Guys can get yards after the catch. Yak daddy. Yeah. That's what he wants. And I think that's why, like I said, Cowboys fans, don't be surprised. They're definitely going to draft a wide receiver in this draft. Don't be surprised if it ends up being a smaller wide receiver than they usually draft. And I've been saying for years, Cowboys need to draft more wide receivers. They've only drafted 14 in the last 15 years. If I go look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've drafted 15 in the last 13 years. The Green Bay Packers, they've drafted 12. You go look at it, man, they're crazy. They've had 25 in the last 18 drafts. So, I know people talk about them not drafting wide receivers really early in the draft in the first and second round, and they really don't. And neither do the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers, man, they never really overpay for wide receivers because they're always drafting their next number one wide receiver. Hell, the Pittsburgh Steelers traded a Super Bowl MVP wide receiver in Santonio Holmes because there's an old lyric from Notorious B.I.G. I think it applies to wide receivers. And the lyric for B.I.G. is, I'm a pimp by blood, not relation. Y'all still chase some. I'll replace them. That is how you have to feel about wide receiver for the most part. Can't chase it. You gotta think about replacing wide receiver constantly. Pittsburgh Steelers do it the right way. Green Bay does it the right way. The Cowboys need to start drafting more wide receivers in middle to late rounds. Not necessarily early. If you got one early, then great. But middle to late rounds is where you find a lot of value at wide receiver. And these days, they are getting lighter for some reason. And you know you can blame for the wide receivers getting lighter? You can blame Sark. I'll give you a little stat. I'll give you more of this next week. So I'm doing some deep dive about the draft. You know, body mass index, BMI.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it, say it's BS or what you will. But it's in terms of us now looking at this particular stat, I think it applies. So if you're looking at wide receivers who have a BMI of 25 or less, 25, that body mass index or less, there have been, since 2000, 22 wide receivers, right, who have a body mass index of 25 or less. Devontae Smith was at 23.1, and 7 of the 22 have been since Devontae Smith was drafted, 10th overall. So since 2000, we're talking about 23 years of the NFL draft, all right, there only been 22 wide receivers who had a BMI of 25 or less that were drafted, and 7 of them have come since Devontae Smith got drafted. That's a Sark effect, because most coaches believe that that guy's too small to play wide receiver, and I wouldn't draft a wide receiver who is that undersized or that slight. But ever since that Devontae Smith pick, 10th overall, and his Heisman campaign, and Sark, obviously, his intellectual genius behind that, calling plays, A lot more teams are willing to give undersized, slight wide receivers a chance because of what they saw with Devontae Smith. And he's been great. He's actually been really good. So that's kind of looking at it. Undersized wide receivers becoming more and more of a thing. And honestly, Sark's a big part of that. You got Sark to thank. Because Jalen Hyatt, who is 6 foot 176, he's got a 23.8 BMI. If you go look at round 1 and 2 wide receivers since 2000, with 1,000 yards grouped by their BMI, only 5. All right, 5 receivers have 1,000 yards since 2000 with a BMI of 26 or less. It just doesn't happen a lot. Guys who are that slight and that small. But times are changing. All right, we come back. We'll get into, this Aaron Rodgers story. We'll talk about what team can really rain on the Jets parade when it comes to the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. That's my man Patrick. Takes jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings, plays those songs for us, and, man, gives us a chance to get a sneak peek at these very talented human beings in the live music capital of the world. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Stupid Drama, and they're playing Saturday up at Hanover's.
Stupid Drama. What was the other one?
That's in my hood.
What was the Slurp one?
Slurp the World.
Slurp the World. Stupid Drama. All right. I like that. Yeah. I wonder how long it takes to come up with these band names, to just commit to them. Does it take long?
It's a commitment that's because
Right?
like you'll have like 20 names and you're like, we hate all of them.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of get through and then you're like, this one, it doesn't make me as mad.
Yeah, because to me, I imagine it's like naming a child. It's a compromise with you and another person. Because naming a kid, I
Yeah.
heard, is difficult because you may like something, and then your
Right.
partner doesn't like it. They like something, you don't like it. How'd you come up with all your kids' names?
We
Harsh?
agreed on them right away.
You really know there was no debate.
problem.
None of that?
Well,
It was like we like this. Is
My very first child, once he was a boy, his name was gonna be Michael. Period.
Okay,
There was no negotiating that. Then after that, we went through it.
You gonna get
and-
you another Michael in the
Oh,
world?
there
though.
was gonna be another Michael for sure. For sure.
I got you. That's true. That's
Yeah.
good. I feel that.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I imagine a band name is kind of like that too. Like, hey man, come to a compromise. Sometimes maybe it's easy. Sometimes it may take a
Yeah,
little
there's
while.
a great old SNL bit about Bon Jovi with Bon Jovi and it being like, no, but we should name the man Bon Jovi. It's like, but that's your last name. It's like, no, but it just sounds cool.
That does sound cool though. That is awesome. I mean, how'd you come up with that one? That's great. It's probably Destiny Child. Probably Beyonce probably wanted that too and got voted down.
Yeah.
We should
I
go
wanted to be-
Beyonce, guys.
We should be Beyonce's.
No, Destiny's Child works, Beyonce. All right, let's get to this Aaron Rodgers story real quick. Okay, so there was a theory thrown out there by 49ers. He's basically 49ers insider. So, but it is a theory of his. He's not basing this on any sources that he's got. His name is Craig Carton, and he was on FS1, and he recently floated an interesting theory that the 49ers could try to pursue Aaron Rodgers essentially if the Jets thing implodes, basically the Jets situation with Aaron Rodgers. And by the way, it has been crickets right now with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. We haven't heard anything.
Been real quiet.
Yeah, we're assuming that there's still a go for Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, but we haven't heard anything about it. And he's claiming that if the 49ers trade a first-round pick in next year's draft, and that if they really essentially combine, I think their third-round picks, they have 3 third-round picks. He's saying a first-round pick in next year's draft, 3 third-round picks from this year's draft might be enough to at least get them to send Aaron Rodgers to the 49ers instead of the Jets. And by the way, the Jets, I believe, are asking for a first and like a middle round or a second round pick. 49ers can match that. Why not send them to the 49ers? The 49ers can definitely afford to pay him because
for sure.
all their quarterbacks are relatively cheap. They just got rid of their most expensive quarterback, and that was Jimmy G. The rest of them are on rookie deals. So they can afford to pay him.
Yeah.
Would they do something like that? You got to figure out the Trey Lance, Brock Purdy thing, too.
Well, that would be the problem. That would be one of the trading pieces.
That's a good point. Yeah.
One of them, you gave up 3 to get Trey Lance. You already said that Brock Purdy's your guy. We found out yesterday that he was one of the highest scoring cognitive test people from last
he was
year's
the highest
draft
one, yeah.
and ended up being Mr. Irrelevant, played himself into a big-time deal. So why wouldn't you look at doing something like that and make Trey Lance part of the trade?
And he says absolutely Aaron Rodgers would want to play for the franchise.
Of
the
course
49ers,
he would.
Because he'd be going back to the West Coast.
Oh, and he could beat Brady there.
Yeah.
Because remember, the story initially, everybody thought Brady was going to go there. They're going to keep that bleeping guy. You know what I'm saying?
That MFer?
Yeah. Yeah.
And who do we think he was talking about?
It's got to be Jimmy G.
Every single one of those
Derek Carr, Jimmy
quarterbacks
G?
that Cam Newton could start in front of, he's talking about every one of them.
That's the MFer that
Yeah.
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 talking about. But there you go. I mean, I would say nobody made it sound as logical and as reasonable as this guy did.
Right.
And it makes a lot of sense because they can afford it salary cap wise. The big issue would be draft capital wise, but they can use next year's draft capital and then just basically decide to give away the top picks they have in this draft and make it happen. There's something going on between the Jets and the Green Bay Packers right now, and it ain't good.
Yeah,
Right.
I know Mike Florio had the same report, is that the 49ers could be a fallback on the Aaron Rodgers. There is the thing of this is an NFC team, and one of the things the Packers said is they did not want to send him anywhere in the NFC. And so that is one of the hang-ups is, hey, this is one of those teams that knocks us out of the playoffs a lot, isn't it?
Yes, it
So we
is.
don't really want to give them our best player.
Right.
And we'll come back to bite you.
But if you're saying, hey,
does.
we don't necessarily think Jordan Love is going to take us to the playoffs the next 2 years, and we don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play for 3. So if we don't think we're going to be playing against them the next 2, and we can get a bunch of their capital, then technically we're hurting them down the road because we're stealing their draft capital. So if depending on where they think they are right now, then they could still send Aaron Rodgers to the NFC. But I know that was one of the hang-ups was they really wanted to send him to the AFC.
Yeah, that's a good point, Patrick. I think if Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to play that long for Green Bay, he goes to that quarterback-friendly offense in San Fran on the West Coast. We can go to the beach every other day. He may decide, you know what, I want to play 2 or 3 more years with these guys, just not with the Green Bay.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff there. We'll come back. We got the 6 o'clock. We'll talk Texas football and Texas basketball right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday, but the theme of New Theme Thursday is 512 Friday because actually it is a Friday for us because it's our last show of the week before we celebrate Good Friday and the Easter weekend. Good 512 Friday, all about celebrating live and local, showing some love to all the very talented human beings who really showcase their talent in the live music capital of the world here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Brittany Lobus, and she is playing Saturday at the Pershing.
All right, there you go. If you missed some of those selections for 512 Friday, my man Patrick always gets them posted for you at hornfm.com. You can go check that out as well. All right, we'll give you a Masters update. I believe they're close to finishing up for the day, Harge. We'll give them a little bit of time to let them get the last stragglers off the course. But most of the golfers at the Masters are done for the day. So we'll get you a leaderboard update here, I should say, here momentarily here in this segment. We'll also talk some Texas football. We'll also go behind the burnt orange curtain a little bit and talk some Texas basketball, too. Some big news for Texas basketball. But you can be a part of the show, 512-337-3776. That's the number to the Specs text line. You also can hit us up via Twitter. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. My man Harge at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. And my man Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. Just that easy. All right. You know what? Let's start with, we'll wait on the Masters update because you said a lot of the golfers, not a lot, but some were on 17.
Yeah,
give them some time to finish up and get.
But they're not.
Oh, really? It's not worth waiting on them?
Yeah, I mean, Max Homa is my guy, and he just finished. And
all right.
Let's see. No, he's not finished. He's on 17. Rory McIlroy is on 17, and Tommy Fleetwood is on 16.
All right. So it's not. Spieth Spieth done too?
Spieth just shut it down,
too.
He
just shut it down, too?
Yep.
All right. We'll give you a Masters update in about 5 minutes. We're going to see if we can get the leaderboard set for the first day at the Masters, and then we'll give you an update there. Let's talk a little Texas sports while we got some time here because a couple of updates, and we'll get to some Texas spring football nuggets here in just a second. But one of the things that got Harge excited yesterday, actually, it broke during the show, that the Big 12, Big East showdown that they have, that Texas is taking part in as a result of the 2023 Big East Big 12 battle. John Rothstein released the matchups for the Big East Big 12 battle, and Texas will indeed be playing Marquette.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody understood the assignment. Texas played Marquette, of course. Shaka Smart, former Texas coach, is the head coach there at Marquette, and Marquette had a hell of a season, actually.
Yes, they did.
And hell, it ended up beating the national champion.
Twice.
UConn twice, too.
Yep.
But fell short, obviously, in the NCAA tournament. But that's a great headline, Harge. And talk about storylines galore. Texas playing up against Shaka Smart and Marquette. Not only are they going to be a highly ranked college basketball team, they'll be top 10 team somewhere around there, but also the storyline of getting to play Shaka once again.
Shaka, who also was a national AP Coach of the Year this past season too. So Shaka's got a Coach of the Year award as well from this season. They won the Big East title. They were a number 2 seed. Yes, they fell short, but one thing is for sure, Shaka can coach, and now they have an opportunity to play the University of Texas again at home in Milwaukee at Marquette University. So
nice. Yeah. That would be really cool for Texas. I haven't looked at the non-conference schedule for next year, but I imagine it's going to be a tough non-conference, especially now adding Marquette to that.
And not only that, Texas will play UConn this year in the Empire, whatever, at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that's right.
They will be in the same tournament. I don't know if they're going to play each other.
In the same tournament.
Yeah, for sure. And here's on that matchup of these teams, and that's going to be December the 5th, by the way. Texas will play Marquette on December the 5th. But UConn plays at Kansas, Texas at Marquette. University of Houston will play at Xavier, which now is part of the Big 12. University of Houston, coming into this season.
That's correct.
Villanova will play K-State. St. John's will play West Virginia. Creighton will play Oklahoma State. Providence will play OU. Iowa State will play DePaul. Texas Tech at Butler. TCU at Georgetown. And Seton Hall at Baylor.
Speaking of Baylor, there is a Texas-related story. I guess it's a college basketball-related story more than anything. Mm-hmm. But the guard, L.J. Cryer, for Baylor, is in the transfer portal, reportedly, or he will be in the transfer portal. That comes from ESPN, and there are a ton of schools interested in LJ Cryer, as there should be. And Texas was also mentioned among other schools that are going to be interested in LJ Cryer. You pointed out, though, Texas probably not going to be the favorite to acquire LJ Cryer, not even in the Big 12.
Not even in the Big 12, yes. Jerome Tang, the head coach over at K-State, who a lot of people believe should have been the coach of the year because of what he was able to do with that K-State basketball team. He seems to be the favorite at K-State for LJ Cryer because he did recruit LJ Cryer to Baylor when he was on the staff with Scott Drew. So he was around that program for a very long time, finally got his shot, and now it looks like he may be rebuilding again because Marquise Noel he's going to be trying out for the NBA as well. He's going to try to see what he gets back on his report for the NBA draft.
Yeah, that will be interesting too. But yeah, no matter if they get LJ Cryer or not, Texas will be very busy in the transfer portal. Everybody has to be busy in the transfer portal. It give it and it take it away. And if you're not busy in the transfer portal, you ain't doing your job.
You're not doing your job
these days.
And a name to pay attention to, not only LJ Cryer, is Max Abmas. Abmas, I think is his name.
Where's he from?
He's from Oral Roberts.
Okay.
Averaged 21.9 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. He's a guard, long guard, that is being looked at a lot by a lot of different teams. Texas Tech is in the mix for him as well because don't forget, they have a new basketball coach at Texas Tech also.
Yeah, they do. Hoping for a resurgence, Texas Tech basketball. All right, so a couple of basketball nuggets there. I want to talk a couple of spring football topics while we have a chance.
Rob, let's give a quick update because the time is hitting. That Texas baseball is postponed today.
Yep.
So if you're tuning in right now to check out the pregame for Texas baseball, it has been rescheduled. Tomorrow we'll start at 6:30, 6:15 pregame.
Yep.
Saturday is now a 2:30 game with a 2:15 pregame, and Sunday is a 1 p.m. game with a 12:45 pregame. That'll be making up today's game on Sunday.
All right, thank you for that, Patrick. We appreciate it. And Hard, you still working this weekend, or you not know?
We're working on the schedule.
All right, there
We're
you go.
working on that schedule.
Working on that schedule.
That's right.
All right, let's jump to Texas football here just a second because we are really close to the Texas spring game as well. And there's been a lot of talk lately about Quinn Ewers. And I even heard an Inside Texas report, and it was Eric Nylene, I believe, and Bobby Burton. They did a really good job talking about the development of Quinn Ewers and how really Quinn Ewers' offseason this spring has been really consistent. And that there hasn't been a lot to report on because of the consistency of it. And what you want from a young player, what you didn't have last year from Quinn Ewers, was what I call that baseline of productivity, where he had that consistency. You saw the flashes, kind of a roller coaster. You saw the flashes, so you saw the ceiling, but you also saw the basement of Quinn Ewers at time. And what you want to see is more of that baseline. And from some of the reviews, and we even have my man Corey Mose, shout out to Corey Mose, Corey @_Mose in the Twitterverse. He put together a little montage of the players who had availability, I believe, today after their practice, and it was Jay Witt, Jahdae Barron, I believe Jatavian Sanders was in this group as well. So it's like 3 or 4 different guys, and it's a montage, but they're all talking about Quinn Ewers. And there are a couple of very insightful comments from these guys that I want to discuss. But here's the clip first via Corey Mose, so shout out to him, of the players, a lot of the leaders on the team talking about Quinn Ewers and his development this spring.
I've been trying to get a pick from Quinn, and I was supposed to have one today. I see I missed a little bit late, but Quinn, he's improved. His confidence went way up.
You can tell that he's came a long way learning like the defense and knowing what we're defense and playing, even if we're disguising on him.
I think getting Arch definitely made Quinn step up his game for sure.
Just being somebody that you really, really got a lot of faith in. You know, he's a guy that I got a lot of trust in.
He does a good job of looking out the safeties, and I can tell you that came a long way.
You can just tell Quinn is in a different mode this year, the way he carries himself, the way he comes to the facility. He started to be more of a leader. And I'm loving the way he's stepping up for sure.
Okay, my favorite comments are made. Like I said, it was a collage, if you will, a montage. So shout out to at Corey _Mose, MOSE, does a great job, and I'd recommend a follow for anybody out there. Does a great job working with KView, and it was either Ja'Day. No, it was actually Jaron Thompson, I believe it was, toward the end. Ja'Day Barron's in the clip too, but he's at the beginning talking about that he wants to pick off Quinn Ewers, which is funny. But Jaron Thompson talks about him learning how to read a defense and how to breaking down the disguise, pre-snap disguise that teams have been throwing at him. I'm sure they were throwing at him a lot during the spring. Remember last year, that was one of his big issues. You remember his coming out party, that first quarter versus Alabama. Everybody's like, "Oh man, this guy's unbelievable." Hell, they're writing stories in Pro Football Focus and ESPN about, all right, he's gonna be a top 10 draft pick and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, it was a little bit premature to crown that way. He's got that kind of potential. We all know that. But it was premature because watching that Bama game, what people didn't realize was that Nick Saban, who's one of the greatest defensive minds ever, his favorite and he believes the most effective coverage is just playing cover one, just flat out man coverage. And it is probably the best and most effective coverage, especially going up against an RPO-based offense like Texas. But not everybody can play man-to-man coverage across the board. You got to have some real dogs to do it, which is why Ohio State, LSU, Bama does it. Not a lot of teams are going to play man-to-man all the damn time like those teams do. And when they're going up against a quarterback who hadn't played football in a year, who's a freshman basically, Nick Saban wanted to test him. He was going to try him. Right? If you got a golden arm and you're supposed to be the highest rated quarterback prospect, of all time, the prince that was promised, let's see it. And he didn't bother with pre-snap shell disguise. He didn't bother with trying to confuse and discombobulate a young quarterback. No, they just lined up and figured, we're going to play man-to-man and see if this guy can make all the throws. Well, he made most of them damn throws.
He made
damn near all of them, exactly. And I think Bama learned, you got to get in this guy's head. And after that, teams started getting in his head. You got to force him to process, not only make a pre-snap read, but also process and make a post-snap diagnosis. So whatever he saw at pre-snap cannot match what he saw at post-snap. And every team did that. And what happened to that golden arm? It didn't look so golden. Looked more like it was bronze or silver because no matter, the golden arm is not going to save you from bad processing, all right, up top in terms of your football IQ.
It was gold-plated.
Gold-plated, I like that. And bad footwork.
Oh, man.
All right, so the footwork is getting cleaned up this spring.
That's perfect.
They're going to clean up the process, so he'll be processing things a little bit quicker. The football IQ and acumen, that's going to accelerate in terms of its improvement, and then the golden arm can shine through. But I don't give a damn how good your arm is. It ain't going to save you from making a bad read, and it ain't going to save you from throwing with bad feet.
Right.
And those are the things that haunted him last year. And I love that the two things Jaron Thompson said about him was he's moving the safety with his eyes, and then he's making better pre-snap reads and post-snap diagnosis. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what I got from it.
Right. And I think you're spot on. And the beautiful thing about it is when you're that talented, let's just be honest. If you come in and you put in the work, you're going to see improvement.
No doubt.
Because it is there. He couldn't be a 5-star if the talent was not there. And I think the point that was made when he didn't get a chance to work when he was at Ohio State. When you come in late, you have no camaraderie with the team, and you really don't want to be there. You really didn't want to go to Ohio State. You truly wanted to be at the University of Texas. That's why when you entered the portal, everybody knew you were coming back to the University of Texas. You missed your entire senior year. And I heard Jeff talk about this. Jeff Howell, Light the Tower with Craig Way, 10 to 12 right here on 104.9 The Horn. He was talking about the fact that you were dealing with the hernia too. So you were coming off all that when you were at that place and you couldn't play. And then you get to the University of Texas. We all expected a lot from you, and you get thrown into the fire. You look good, but you were getting away with so much because you were blessed with that golden arm.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to be that easy. You went up against Alabama, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm slanging this thing across the field. When I come back from my injury, I'm going to just come back and just be able to do the same thing. Well, no, the game changed. The speed of the game was different. And the fact that
he did at first because it was Oklahoma.
Right. Oh, yeah. Very good point. Very good point about Oklahoma.
You caught them at their lowest point, and then after that,
that's when everything started changing a lot. Yeah. So I was expecting this from Quinn, to be perfectly honest with you, because I'll give you credit. You kept saying you can't work on the footwork stuff during the season.
It's tough.
You can as an individual, you can in group.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You got to get your game plan. You got so many things that you're going to be working on. But for him, he had that opportunity. He changed it, shaved his beard off, changed his look, shaved his hair, got no more mullet. I mean, he's coming about that work, changed his body. Everybody kept talking about how his body looks different.
He's lost
too.
some weight.
Right. And
He's
it's
lost
more
some
cut
weight.
up.
Yeah, he's
you know
more
what I'm
lean
saying?
right
so,
now.
and that's your quarterback. So that's our quarterback.
That's my
so
quarterback.
yeah, that's what he wanted to be, and he wanted people to understand. No, this ain't a facade. I'm here to work. I did see one part where he said, Jatavian Sanders said, "Well, I think Arch being here made him step up his game," and I'm like, I mean, every competition is important.
It is.
And he knows it too. He's a 5-star. He knows what that looks like.
Well, honestly, I think it got Malik.
Right.
moved.
Everybody's
I
on
think, I
board.
think it stepped Malik up because Malik, I
He's
love
like,
him.
my
I think
foot
it's great.
don't hurt no more.
But yeah, you can't make the club in the tub. All of a sudden, Arch Manning comes on campus. Nationally, everybody's talking about Arch Manning, Quinn Ewers competition, and Malik's got to be thinking to himself, well, what the hell? I'm still, at my chopped liver, I'm still here. And whether he was hurt, I know he was hurt dealing with it, but I think mentally he took a step in the right direction too when Arch Manning came on campus, because I think everybody understood the new situation in the quarterback room.
Yep.
That if you do not perform, then they're going to give this guy a chance.
Right.
Sooner rather than later. If Arch Manning plays sooner than later, then that is y'all fault.
Yep.
Because that means
100%.
y'all couldn't hold him off
Yep.
in the competition. And I think everybody agrees it's Quinn's job to lose. But the fact that Malik is second string now is also a big step.
No doubt.
Remember, everybody thought Arch Manning, even myself thought Arch Manning, he'll end up being the backup because I don't know if Malik can stay healthy. Well, Malik is saying, I'm going to be healthy.
I'm here.
I'm going to be healthy.
That's
so,
right.
I do. I think
right.
Arch Manning has made a huge impact already, just with the mentality, with the culture of those guys, too. One quick story real quick I want to get to before we get to the NBA stuff. Bob Stoops was recently on a podcast, and they were throwing around an idea that I have actually brought up a couple of times on the radio a few years ago. And it was basically something to replace the traditional spring game, which might end up being the most irrelevant football game that anybody ever plays, which is a spring game. But they want to replace it with spring exhibitions. Which is something that it was being considered years ago, and then for some reason it lost steam. And I think a lot of things lost steam with COVID. But here is Bob Stoops when he was asked about whether replacing spring games with spring exhibitions against other teams would be a better alternative. Here's Bob Stoops.
I'd love it. I'd love it. And if not for the spring game, I'd be all for that spring game, or give us one during any time during the, during the spring that we can just meet up and have a day where we have our own, game. But I think it's a great idea. You get tired of just going against yourself, and make it fair to everybody that you can share it across the country, whatever. Everyone gets to see it or see the tape of it. But I think most places would be in favor of that.
Now, Harge, most spring games are regulated anyway to obviously keep guys from getting hurt, to limit injuries. They don't want guys going to the ground, even to the point where they'll blow the whistle when you thud up a guy instead of taking him down to the ground and hitting him. I honestly don't see anything wrong with a exhibition scrimmage with Texas State or with
UTS. Well, I can't say UTSA.
I was saying, you play them, so no UTSA.
No,
but
UTSA.
you know what I'm talking about, though, at North Texas, whatever it may be, instead of going up against your own squad. And I guess maybe embarrassment would be an issue because you don't want your players to get embarrassed like that. You're going to have the game on national TV and then have them outplayed during that scrimmage exhibition. I get that. But for the fans, I don't see any downside of it, really.
Well, I think it would be more like what Patrick got a chance to, Texas did before when they played Arkansas in that closed scrimmage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do it like that.
Yeah, close it. You're right.
Close the
don't
scrimmage and let nobody see it, but you can have it on tape. And if you want to, like a LHN or something like that, if you have your regional type of deal, you say no fans, no nothing, but everybody can watch it on closed caption or whatever.
Then you can control what people see.
Exactly.
And you control what gets out and what doesn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Pick Prairie View. I don't care. Just pick any program.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? They said they want to help out the lower tier schools now that they
What's
are
in the system?
monopolizing all the talent and
Which
stuff.
one is in the system?
Yeah,
though?
so go find your sister schools or whatever that
UT
are in the
Permian
system.
Basin.
Whatever it may be,
Yeah,
all right, and then play them. They'd love it. They love the free exposure, and they love their players to get a chance to play against some top-notch level talent.
And as a challenge for your player, I'm gonna be out there trying to go hard against them fools.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know when you're going up against somebody else, different jersey.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a whole different mentality. And I think that's what Bob Stoops was talking about. Yeah, you do get tired of seeing the same guys all the time, and I do wonder if that'll catch on. At one point, it was a thing. Like I said, there were a few schools that did it maybe like 7-8 years ago, maybe even more than that. It might be 10 because I'm getting a little bit older. So maybe like 10 years ago they did it, but then it stopped and lost momentum. And I wonder now if you'll start seeing it come back. Teams deciding to play more exhibition scrimmages instead of those traditional spring games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we come back. We got NBA news, notes, and nuggets. Oh, take that back. Let's do a Masters preview. Let's do a Masters update real quick.
Yeah.
Let's get our golf force ready to go here. Can't be talking in a normal voice.
You cannot.
Let me get the Masters update going good here. All right, you ready here, Harch? You got the.
I'm ready.
You got. Here we go. Thank you, Patrick, for getting the music ready there.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
It's Hardball Hearts. This will be brought to you by Blue Chew.
Okay. You can't just be dropping Blue Chew endorsements like that. They got to pay for stuff like that.
That is true. This is not brought to you by Blue Chew. Victor Howland, as we talked about before, he is on the leaderboard. He is tied at number 1 with he's at -7 with John Rahm and Brooks Koepka.
Koepka.
Cameron Young, United States Cameron Young, is at 4th, tied for 4th at -5 with Jason Day, Shane Lowry, Xander Schauffele, Adam Scott, Gary Howland, Sam Bennett, the rookie, the amateur, is holding his own at -4, tied with Scotty Scheffler.
Scheffler?
Yes, and Sam Burns. Then you have to look for Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth tied for 13th at -3. Justin Thomas, who everyone thought was going to make a run today, did not. He did not, folks, but he is at -2. Tiger Woods, he's +2.
Don't forget about Cameron Smith.
And Cameron.
One of those live guys.
Oh, yeah, we definitely got to drop down to live guys.
To
Brooks
live guys,
Koepka is one of those guys.
Patrick Reed.
He's
at
playing
1 under?
well.
And how about Phil Mickelson?
He's hanging around.
1 under.
He's loitering.
The Hollywood Hogan of this live crew.
Can we give a Hollywood Hogan in Master's voice?
Oh, brother, I'm gonna sink deep, I'd eat my vitamins and say my prayers.
I love that Harge's Hogan had a little Macho Man Savage in there, too.
As I was saying it, I thought I was a Macho Man.
We're gonna put the ball real good. Yeah, dig it.
That was an awesome Macho Man. Sorry, my voice shouldn't be that high with the Masters music. That was a great Macho Man, Patrick.
That is the Masters.
Oh, yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau is with Tiger Woods at +2. He's another live guy.
That's ugly.
They had one casualty today, and what I mean by casualty is a withdrawal. Kevin Na, who is on the live tour, he realized, I don't have to play because I've got live money. Thank y'all for having me.
Why am I doing this to myself?
Exactly.
I have money now.
I have money now.
That's good stuff. All right, there you go. Masters update. So if you're looking at the leaderboard and which one of the live guys who is the NWO of this this Masters here, it would be Brooks Koepka.
Yep.
He's tied for first at 7 under. Remember I told you what I said yesterday? What I told you? I said I like Koepka. I said I like Koepka.
No doubt.
If all the live guys said, no, I think I like Koepka. He's playing well, and my wish is that I'm not rooting for the bad guy in the movie, but I do think for golf it'd be really, really intriguing down the stretch if this live tour with these natural villains now in this live tour, if one or two of them are in it late down the stretch this weekend, I think it'd be fantastic. Because you got Greg Norman who's basically deciding, he's telling people they're going to celebrate on the 18th green as a crew, NWO style. You got, Brooks Koepka who's got a little a-hole in him. He's a little bit angry about how people have been talking bad on him since he went to the Live Tour. You know if he wins, he's going to throw it in everybody's face. He might decide to take off his shirt on the 18th green. He might do something wild like that. It could happen. So I'm just rooting for little petty chaos at the Masters.
You're definitely going to get it.
That's all a little petty.
Yep.
It helped out the women's national title game tremendously. And I think you can do the same thing for golf. So let's just hope that the Live guys make it interesting. And right now, I'm a little surprised, though, that Rory McIlroy's not doing better. He's also another guy I picked to win it. I was wrong about that. Or
yeah,
at least
I was
for now.
part of that, too.
At least for now, I'm wrong about it. But Masters obviously continues this weekend. We'll get you another Masters leaderboard update before we get out of here. All right, coming back, we got a couple of NBA news notes and nuggets. The Lakers are now a favorite of a lot of NBA pundits to make a run and win it all. We'll discuss that on the other side as well. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday, but the new theme for Thursday is a 512 Friday because it's a Friday show for us, our last show before the holiday weekend. That's when Patrick plays songs from bands, very talented artists, and human beings that you can catch live right here in the ATX. Who are we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is The Point, and they're playing Friday at ABGB.
All right, there you go. If you missed any of these suggestions from my man Patrick, always doing a great job, and you want to look cool in front of all your friends, you can go to hornfm.com and you can catch up with all of the suggestions for 512 Friday, which is the theme of New Theme Thursday, right there at hornfm.com. Okay, so good news for Mavs fans. They ended up keeping hope alive with a big win over the Sacramento Kings. It's the only way they could keep hope alive. 123-119, and Kyrie Irving was the one to assert himself in the fourth quarter. He had 31 points, but 19 of those came in the fourth quarter. 12 points in the fourth quarter for Christian Wood, and the Mavs now have a 52% chance to be the 10th seed in the play-in, although they're tied with Oklahoma City right now currently for that 10th seed. OKC does have the tiebreaker, but OKC is on a bit of a downward spiral, gentlemen. They've lost 4 straight at this point. So they've lost a lot of games. And looks like the Mavs, they're not winning a ton of games, but they're winning enough to try to keep hope alive. But they got to win out, and they got to hope OKC, even Minnesota, because I think Minnesota's got San Antonio, New Orleans stuff. If they slide too, that could also end up helping. But right now, they're tied with OKC. They don't have the tiebreaker, though. OKC does.
That's the tough part right there. You put yourself in this position, though.
Yeah,
you've set yourself up for failure when all of this started to happen, and the moves that you were making, and some of the things that Patrick touched on earlier about how Jason Kidd has gone about his business. He's a defensive-minded coach. They're not playing any defense. They're giving it up on both ends. And obviously, Kyrie has been a difference maker, and everybody keeps saying he's been a loyal contributor to this team. He's done everything possible to help this team move forward. Luka, not so much sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Even though both of them have played well last night. And it was a big win for them playing against Sacramento, who just won the West for the first time ever. For the first time in a long time. I'm not going to say ever. First time in a long time. So for them to go out there and play as well as they did, but the biggest part of this is you put yourself in this position. There were so many games midway through the season that you lost, and the relationship numbers seem to be against what your success rate has been, right?
Yeah. It's a lot of teams are obviously fighting for the play-in right now. The Mavs, I don't know if they're going to be able to make a run because they are flawed, very much so, as you just brought up, especially defensively.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you one thing they do really well, and they've been doing really well all year long, and not all year long, since the trade, I should say, the three-pointers.
Yep.
They made 23-pointers. They are right now, they've made 23-pointers for the 5th time this season since acquiring Kyrie Irving. Last year, the entire season, they had 3 such games where they made 20-plus three-pointers. And they're averaging around over 16 three-pointers made per game since, or at least near 16 three-pointers made per game since acquiring Kyrie Irving, which was right up there toward the top of the NBA. So that's pretty the only thing they do really, really well right now with Kyrie Irving and Luka.
Yeah, because, those guys can both drive the paint and are really good passers. And so if you're all trying to spread the court, those guys can get in the paint. The entire defense has to collapse on them because you have to respect either one of them, the ability to score in the paint. And if you collapse on them, they're going to find the open guy and hit him, and most of Dallas's guys can shoot threes.
Yeah.
So that game plan's all good. The problem begins on the other end of the court when you have all of those same guys who just want to shoot threes, and none of them want to be 3-and-D guys. They just want to be 3 guys.
Yeah, no 3-and-D guys, just the 3 guys. I like the way you put that. The Lakers, real quick, guys, they lost to the Clippers in the battle. But by the way, LeBron hasn't beaten the Clippers in a long time.
I think they're 11-0. They've won 11 straight games. The Clippers have beat the Lakers 11 straight games.
That is unbelievable.
And Russell Westbrook was letting him know about it the entire game last night.
Was he giving him the business?
Oh, my gosh. Talking trash, and he was playing like a man possessed.
He's been playing well.
He's been playing
since
real
that
well.
Trade. And the Lakers are actually doing well since the trade. They're doing better since the trade.
Doing better.
But there are a lot of people picking him to win it all now.
Yeah, I mean,
That
Russell
was
Westbrook
crazy.
for the Lakers was a terrible, terrible fit in the case that they went from maybe they'll make the play-in to, oh, they're in the playoffs. Like, they're not even going to have to worry about the play-in.
Yep.
And that was, I mean, a couple of good moves, bringing in some other guys, but getting rid of Russell Westbrook was a very
Addition
big
by
move.
subtraction.
And then, of course, they go, man, Russell Westbrook, he really lit us up. His line last night was 14.3 rebounds, 4 assists. It's a lot more talk than action. Norman Powell had 27 points in
For
that game.
sure.
That's a guy who did it, but Russell Westbrook still had to be like, look, I beat my team. Like, you played an okay game.
And
you
he
went
was
6 or
minus
12.
one.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like, you didn't do this.
That's him in a nutshell.
You
though.
had another guy on your team who went off.
And you got Kawhi, as always.
Yeah, and quite because
And LeBron hates Kawhi.
It's almost like we talked about with James
He's his
Harden.
kryptonite.
oh yeah.
He is LeBron's
Oh, yeah,
kryptonite.
but-
Every time he sees Kawhi, he's like, oh, my God, here he comes.
No, but it reminds me of what we talked about with James Harden in Philadelphia. We don't talk about James Harden, but he is contributing, and
Yeah.
he's a really positive impact player for them now. But he's actually been fine with not being the focal point of attention.
Exactly.
And Russell Westbrook, although contributing in a positive way, he still wants to be a little of the focal point
Yeah.
of attention.
Just last night, for sure.
Just like, yeah, exactly.
For sure last
Yeah,
night.
he still has to be, and he'll have some good games, but you're like, that's not what you're supposed to be
That's
doing.
not your role anymore.
Like, it's not what you need to do for this
Yeah.
team to win in the playoffs, because if you start doing that in the playoffs against really good teams, it's going to be a problem real quick when you all of a sudden go 3 for 14 because you think, oh man, I've got my shot going.
I'm hot. I got to.
Yeah.
I'm hot. How about real quick?
LeBron was minus 25, plus minus last night in the first half. He was minus 25, and he finished at minus 10.
Wow.
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
still had 33 points.
That sums it up right there.
Yeah.
The Lakers will never win with that.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
he is their guy. He's their straw that stirs the drink. So Jay Williams, Chris Mannix, and now Nick Wright are all among the NBA analysts who believe the Lakers can make a title run. I'll just ask you guys, yes or no. Lakers can make a title run, can they?
No, I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to be healthy enough throughout it. I mean, you just have too many. Anthony Davis and LeBron James can stay on the court for the rest of the rest of the finals.
And play long minutes.
They
And
have
play
been. They played. I mean,
They
LeBron,
have. I just
He
don't.
did.
They played
He's playing more. He's
back-to-back.
playing a lot.
I think they're playing well right now. I don't
Yeah.
know if they're going to be able to do that playing in an intense style that the playoffs are, which is way more physical, and be able to go that when guys know and they're sending guys out for you to bump you and to make your feet hurt. And LeBron's going to get his foot stepped on every single series, at least 20 to 30 times, because guys are going to be trying to hurt him and take him out of the game. It's just what it is in basketball. Those little pest guys that everybody hates unless they're on your team, that's what they do.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody needs them dudes.
You say he sets a screen, they're going to kick him in the foot.
You kick him in the foot. That's your role, man. All right, we come back. We'll wrap it up. Put in the oven right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful, not the horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Getting ready to wrap this thing up and put it in the oven. Before we get out of here, we'll let you know what's on tap. If you miss any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com and you can catch up with them on the podcast page. A couple of things just really quickly. The baseball notes. Essentially, if you did have plans to go to the game today, which was rescheduled, essentially that game will be played on Sunday.
Correct.
And everything else right now
is on time for tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on time, but I believe Saturday's games have been pushed back to a later start as well.
2:30.
There you go.
2:30 on Saturday and 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Harch.
Yep.
All right. And I if you want some updates on that, probably be best to check out hornfm.com.
The 100%.
I guarantee they'll keep you updated there as well. All right, Harch, what's on tap for you this weekend, brother?
I'm going to relax and enjoy the family for a change, man.
You've been working hard.
Yeah, it's been a lot of grinding, and they've been on the road and doing things too. So it's a good opportunity to chill. Going to try to go see the movie Air tomorrow.
Yeah, you did say you was going to try to go see that.
Try to go see that tomorrow, and then
You're taking who you going? Family?
Yeah, family. But I found out it was rated R. I didn't realize it's rated R.
What could be in it that's
I
explicit?
don't know.
Language?
Cussing?
Maybe
There's
that's
no,
what
there's no one that's like nudity and sex scenes in the air.
because they said Michael ain't even in it.
Yeah?
No, it's
Spoiler.
Michael's mama.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's Larsa Pippen.
Exactly.
She's in there getting X-rated.
Would that make her his daughter-in-law?
She's everywhere.
Larsa Pippen's in there like, you think you want to have some kids someday?
Oh, Patrick, what's on tap for you, brother?
So get a little rest in, go see the family for Easter, and have a good weekend. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah,
How about yourself, my brother?
I'm gonna hang out with the family a little bit for Easter, but I'm gonna start watching some film for Texas. I'm doing some of my spring football review, so I'll have tons of stats. I got an extra day to do some research, so tons of football stats getting ready for the spring game next week too. So I'll be doing some deep dives.
That's right. It's already here for us.
It's here. Oh yeah.
That's
basically what? It's next weekend,
It's
correct?
next Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
next Saturday.
Next Saturday, yeah. So basically next week, I'll have a ton of football-related stats and stuff to get into. So that'll be fun. All right. We're getting out of here now. But I also remind everybody, tomorrow we're off.
That's right.
We are
off.
We're not back till Monday. So please enjoy your weekend and please be safe out there. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We do mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Shout out to my man Harge and Patrick. Thanks for everything you guys do.
Happy
Peace.
Easter.
Happy Easter.